Hello, guys, and welcome to another Spurs-related episode, Spurs-related live stream. And as always, I am joined by... Oh, no, I'm not joined by anyone in terms of my co-hosts because they didn't want to tell us today. I'm just joking. But we have got some very, very special guests in the building. We have got the main man from Ireland, and I'm going to butcher his slogan as always. So I'm going to let him introduce himself because what better way to do it? Absolute pleasure to have you.
It's the man with the plan, you know yourself, lad, the guy with all the solutions. Look, he's back again, the loudmouth Irishman. No, look, I really appreciate you having me, my man. It's an absolute pleasure. It's always a riot when I'm on here. We always have a good laugh, you know, so I'm delighted to be back again, my man. Thanks for having us.
No worries at all. I thought you were going to do the Irish
number one
sensation.
Spurs fan, Dave. You missed out on your slogan.
No, it was the Irish sensation rocking in from a secret location. I thought you were going to do that one.
No, look, you know, I could give it to people if they want. Look, it's the Irish sensation, you know, rocking it from a secret location. You know, here I am again, back again, baby. That's what it's all about.
Unbelievable.
I have a different one every time, lad. I have a different one every time.
Yeah, we want to hear a different one every time. That's the spot. Anyway, and of course, we have also got Jack, who is obviously Irish Hotspurs, fantastic co-host on the channel, Flatcap EuroTalk on his own channel. So check out that channel, guys, if you're more into European football as well as Spurs and you can't put up with Spurs all the time. Go and check out some quality European analysis over there because there's some quality stuff I was watching over there earlier on. So, yeah, Jack, thanks very much for joining us as well.
Thanks for having me, James. Looking forward to it. You know, it's obviously, you know, I'll usually partner behind, you know, alongside David. You know, we're probably getting sick of each other at this rate, even when we're following each other onto other channels. But it is good to be had, honestly. I've enjoyed especially your guys' conversations with David. So it's good to now be a part of it.
Great stuff, great stuff. I'm waiting for the day you guys move in together and sort of maybe get your own dog together, maybe something like that.
That's a good joke. Probably we're getting, honestly, the missus is getting sick of us, you know, probably talking to each other so much. Thank God it's a WhatsApp, you know, call, not a phone bill because it'd be running up.
Do you know what, lad? You know, the ultimate dream would be to have a studio, but there's a lot of factors that have to come together over the next few years for that to ever happen. You know, so because look, Jack's in New York, I'm in Ireland. You know, believe it or not, we've never actually met in person, which is actually mad.
Wow,
you know, considering we work together and all, which is actually mad. But no, look, you know, let's see where this takes us. Let's see what happens.
Keep pushing it, guys. Keep pushing it. You're doing a fantastic job, and you know, every single night, pretty much, you know, people are tuning into you guys, whether it's live or your content. It's unbelievable. We've got a few people in here. I'm sure a lot of them are the Harris Army. A few of them are obviously our guys, but obviously, guys, if you are new around here, hit that sub button because we are going to try and bring you as much content as possible. Hit the like button as well, as Dave and Jack will vouch. It helps the channel out an awful lot.
It does.
Alex says, Ndombele, after noticing there's no sauce, where's the ketchup and mayo sauce? That's the story today, isn't it? Conte's banning ketchup. What are your thoughts on that one, guys? Let's start off with a bit of a comedy subject, shall we?
Yeah, look, do you know what? I put up a gif earlier on of I think it's Forrest Gump sprinting out of gates down the road. You know what I mean? I put a picture. That's Ndombele live scenes from leaving Hotspur away today. You know, no ketchup, no fizzy drink, no brown sauce. Come on, lad. You know, the guy's out of there. He's not a salad eater. He's not a plain pasta sort of guy. You know, he's like me. He's a heavy set guy. He likes his flavors. But honestly, I'd say he ran it out of there, you know, straight down the high road, straight into McDonald's, either looking for a job to be Ronald Ndombele or to go in and get his Big Mac. Look, I'd say he's absolutely starving right now, the poor mate. You know, he probably thinks he's living in a third world country right now. He's that hungry.
We got a new nickname for him, yeah? Or is it still the same one?
Honestly, I've had about 15 nicknames for him, lad. Ronald Ndombele. I used to call him Endom Baller, Endom Burger, Endom, you know, geez, there's loads of them. Endom Falas was another one I had for a while.
Just depends on which one shows up. Sometimes, you know, certain games, you know, you get Endom Burger. Sometimes you get Endom Baller. Sometimes you can even go as high as Endom Sex Ball. You know, sometimes you can be that. You know, seriously, there's so many tiers of Ndombele. There's so many tiers of them.
Ndombo sauce we got here from Alex. Unbelievable. I think he's only been Ndombo sauce for about one game this year, but we can obviously talk about that a little bit later on. But guys, let's talk about the weekend. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to talk about it, but obviously the Everton game, Conte's first Premier League game in charge. Jack, I'll go with you. What were your thoughts other than the fact that we didn't have a single shot on target? And by the way, we haven't had a single shot on target for 2.5 games since that first half against West Ham 3 games ago now.
Yeah, it certainly is becoming a bit concerning considering that, we don't even seem to want to take shots from distance. Sometimes you feel like, if nothing's being created, if there's nothing really going, might as well have a crack from distance as well, just to test the keeper, especially Pickford, for crying out loud, who we all know is very, very shaky at times. The one thing that might be a bit different, though, is I will say is that, it's not like really Everton had too great of a game, I would say, either. Probably just for both fans, one of the most boring matches they probably had seen, the whole season when you think about it. So at least with Antonio Conte, what is kind of surprising is to have Ben Davies and Eric Dyer in a back three, and you still get a clean sheet. I think that's actually quite impressive. I thought Reguilon was absolutely woeful. He couldn't put a pass, inside to somebody in the middle of the park to save his life. He also kind of blew a huge chance that Harry Kane set him up for. Maybe the only shining light from that game might have been Emerson, maybe just because he didn't put too much of a foot wrong, but really just nobody on the pitch could really play a pass right. It just seems like the final ball is really, really missing in this squad at the moment. Maybe that's why we don't even get shots on target. It's just because we can't play that final pass, that final ball across the 6. Just seems to be really, really difficult for us to create the right sort of chances. And I would say, though, in terms of Antonio Conte, I guess what's come out is that we had a lot more distance covered than we ever had before, even more than the Arsenal match, even more, of course, than the Man United match, even more than Man City match that, we played under Nuno. And as well, though, I will say is that there were moments of maybe more kind of quick passing, kind of high tempo kind of build up that probably would not have also seen under Nuno. So there's some positive notes to take from it, but also I would digress and say that was one of the most boring Spurs matches I've seen in some time, even more boring than some of the Nuno ones.
No, that's a very good, very, very good analysis. And I like the fact you took some positives, because most fans would just be going, this is the same sort of stuff, what is going on? We're not scoring, we're not shooting. But I like the fact you've analysed it in terms of, obviously, the distance covered was a factor. And obviously Conte's put that rocket up their bums and said, sort yourselves out, guys. But, I think we need that extra mile. We need to now say, shoot, even if it's Hugo Lloris from the halfway line. Because if you don't shoot, you don't score, guys. So what is the point of playing football if you don't shoot? That is unbelievable. That would be the one thing that has to get across to the players next game. No matter how bad we play, no matter how bad our build-up players from wing-backs, no matter how bad our players from midfield, you have to shoot on goal. Otherwise, you're never going to get any points other than if it's a 0-0 draw, which we actually got fortunate with.
How many times, though,
Sunday.
have we seen a team, be saved, by just a midfielder just taking a shot from 30 yards, and it happens to just go top bins or, upper Vs, you just think about it. Even, of course, Vincent Kompany's, as well. They played that horrible game, a while back. He saved their Premier League season by just, taking a shot from distance. So
against
I really
Chelsea,
hope that some of the players just take it upon themselves, Højbjerg, Harry Kane, even, Lucas, Sonny, just take a shot from distance, even if it just gets deflected, even if it goes right into the keeper's chest, just take one, because we're just way too conservative.
Exactly that. Anything to add, Dave? What was your thoughts on the game? What would you change other than shooting, which is the obvious one?
I'll be honest with you. Look, I think he needs to drop Lucas Moura and bring in another midfielder. I think we have to go 3 across the midfield, in terms of centre midfielders. I think, look, I don't believe much is going to change between now and January until you buy in a proper ball-playing midfielder. Look, you have Ali, you have Lo Celso, you have Ndombele there. For me, it's just about picking the right one on the day. Hopefully you get the performance out of them and let them be the link man between defence and midfield and the strikers. Because what's happening right now is, they just can't play in true midfield. Look, Skip and Højbjerg, they're destroyers. They're destroyers, but they're not ball-playing midfielders. Look, none of them are really, dropping short to the centre-backs or that, looking for the ball off them. No, they can't really get turned, play a long ball in behind for whether it be Reguilon on one side, Emerson on the other, Harry Kane or Son running in behind. They can't do it. They just don't have that sort to their game. They're just midfield destroyers. So the hope is that maybe he drops Lucas, keeps Kane and Son up top, and brings in an Ndombele and Lo Celso to be that link man. You go to Ben Davies, you go to Dyer. Instead of watching them just kick it long, kick it back to the opposition. Because what Eric Dyer does, what Ben Davies does, they're not passes. They panic and they just balloon it. There's a difference between flowing it in Harry Kane's direction, giving him a chance to win it, or flowing it in towards Son and just absolutely pumping one. You know what I mean? That's just pure panicking.
Absolutely.
So at least if you bring in an extra midfielder, you can walk to Davies and Dyer, and if they don't give you the ball, just slap them around the back of the head and say, next time, give it to me. This is why I'm in the team.
Exactly.
Because what we need right now is just that link man, that ball player in midfield that can get us that can transition us from the defense to the attack. We do not have that right now. And then obviously going forward, look, I'll be honest with you, our players have as much composure as a pedo in a Barney suit at a kid's birthday party. Okay? You know, all the passes and everything else, it's absolutely shocking. You know, you're seeing the Celso should be an inside of the boot pass. He's hitting it with the outside of the boot. You know, you're looking, he's just doing stupid things. Ndombele, he had a great game against Newcastle, but then comes on against Man United and is instructing everyone to pass it away from him. And then when he is in a position to receive it, he runs the opposite side. And I'm like, well, if only you ran that quick on the ball, you know what I mean? Instead of running away to not get on the ball. Then you look at Dele Alli. The guy is the world's high goal seek champion. He's been missing for 3 years and no one's found him. You know, it's unbelievable. You know, we have all of these players in place that should be able to do that job, but you cannot get consistency out of them. No consistency whatsoever. It's absolutely infuriating. It is. It's infuriating. There's over 100 million worth of talent right there that just won't produce, and it's been under 3-4 managers now. You know, and look, we just need to, like Jack was saying, we need to start shooting from the edge of the box. If you can't get the ball into the box, shoot from the edge of the box. But as well, look, the last couple of games especially, we've got the ball out wide to Reguilon. We've got the ball out wide to Emerson. But the problem is they're not putting the crosses in. I don't know whether it's an instruction. I think it was definitely under Nuno. I'm not sure whether it was under Conte or not, but it's very safe. It's always wanted to get down wide, pull the ball back, straight across the midfield, over the other side out to Reguilon, and then Reguilon goes backwards. Then it goes to Davies. Well, you know where that's going. That's going sideways to Dyer. Then Dyer panics. You know, like me at the buffet when you see people going for the dish, you panic. You know what I mean? Absolutely balloons it. It's not good enough. So look, what Conte can do is, I just think, bringing an extra midfielder. But there is positives. Like Jack said, somehow we kept a clean sheet, you know, with Eric Dyer and Mr. Anonymous playing centre-back alongside the God himself. But the problem remains going forward. We haven't had a shot on target in the Premier League since West Ham.
First half, by the way. First half of that game. Unbelievable.
Has it been 4.5 like halves and straight, or 5.5?
So it's been 5 halves, right? So the last time we had a shot on target was the first half of the West Ham game. So that's 5 halves of football in the Premier League. We haven't had a shot on target. 2 in against Man United, 2 halves. 2 halves against Everton and 1 half against West Ham. And the other thing is, if we go this whole game against Leeds without a shot on target, we break the Premier League all-time record for not having a shot on target. And you know it's coming, because I really hope it isn't, because that is a real concern if we don't shoot against Leeds. But it's a concern if we don't shoot against anyone. But you know, if we break that record, the amount of banner that's going to come around this club is going to be unbelievable. By the way, like, we're going to be winning another trophy and something else. Like, it's just, yeah, it's unbelievable. But what was I going to say? The thing I was going to say, Dave, in terms of what you're saying is, you say about Dyer hoofing the ball up. You say about the centre backs and the full backs not really knowing what to do with the ball, and that's because there isn't that presence in midfield. And I completely get that. But how about this for sort of a controversial subject then? So Toby Alderweireld was one of the best centre backs in terms of playing that ball forward. He wouldn't just hoof the ball. Some of the time he would find an assist from centre back. Do you think we let him go too soon?
Do you know what? I think we did, because with Alderweireld, when he was playing, yeah, teams were pressing us because we were playing Sissoko and Winks in midfield before this anyway. So teams were kind of pressing us anyway because they knew we couldn't get a grip to the ball in midfield. But what Toby could do is ping it 70 yards straight to Son's foot. He could ping it 70 yards straight in behind for Harry Kane. We don't have that at centre-back right now. So right now, we don't have it at centre-back. We don't have anyone in midfield that's coming looking for the ball. And the best way I can describe it, to maybe kind of clarify what I'm saying, is someone in a Mikel Carrick, a Luka Modric, players that we've had before, players that will drop deep, that do demand the ball, that are comfortable on the ball in close quarters when people are pressing them. Someone that can go left, someone that can go right, but someone that has a footballing brain, a proper footballing brain. Look, it does take intelligence from Skip and Højbjerg to constantly be in the right positions to turn over the ball. But what we lack is that finesse in midfield. You go through all top teams. They have them. You look at Chelsea, Kovacic, Jorginho. You know what I mean? You go to City. They've got players there. They've got Gundogan, and there's a couple of other players there.
Fernandinho.
Yeah, there's other players there
Silva.
that are comfortable taking the ball, that their first touch is clever, that they can deal with the ball under tight situations. We do not have that. We need someone like a Mikel Carrick and a Luka Modric, someone that can dictate the games. Because the reason why you're seeing the likes of Vitesse having a go, Pacos de Ferreira having a go, because they know we don't have it. So they know if Winks is in midfield, press him. If they know Dyer or Davies are playing, go at them, because they know the mistakes is going to happen. They know they don't have the footballing ability to be able to play around it. They panic. So this is why you keep seeing results like this happening. We need someone that can take the game by the scruff of the neck. If we are being pressed, can still take the ball and can dictate the tempo. Look, it's not always about, you don't always have to build up possession to get into the final third. You can have a midfielder there, a deep line midfielder that can play that pass straight away in for the likes of a Harry Kane, for the likes of Son, who hopefully will be making them runs. You can get straight in on goal by doing that. And if teams sit off you, then you also have that player who's comfortable just to sit in the middle, left, right, ping it over the top, try and create spaces. We do not have that at Tottenham right now. The idea is either get Eric, get Dyer or Moon Boots just to kick it long, panic it, or you're looking at the wing backs getting the ball, passing it inside. But the passes is either going astray or we're passing it into Højbjerg and Skip, who are being pressed because people know they can't get turned and pass the ball and have that spring on them. We're being pressed over, turn it over. So we're not actually getting out. So then you're resorting to like Dyer, Moon Boots and stuff, just pinging it. But like I said, it's not a Toby ping. It's not a ping with direction. It's not a ping with purpose. It's just like, oh shit, boom, gone. And all you're doing is recycling the ball straight back to them and letting them do what they've done to you for the last 5 minutes. You know what I mean? We need that ball player.
Yeah, spot on. And that's exactly what happened against Pacos de Ferreira. Let's forget about that game. But that first game where I remember Winks got pushed, he lost the ball, they counter-attacked, it was a goal, it was 1-0. And it was just a ridiculous mistake. And Man United, we were getting pushed in terms of Skip and Højbjerg. We were just getting pushed the whole game. Mistakes were made. The defence was out of line. We weren't ready for that counter-attack. And that's the worrying thing. We seem to get counter-attacked a lot, and we're not prepared for it at all. The back line aren't communicating. Well, it's going to take time, of course, in a new system. But I just feel that's why I brought that out. Toby Alderweireld in that centre-back of the back foot of the back five would have been unbelievable, I believe. And I think you're spot on, Dave. I think even since Ndombele, we haven't replaced Moussa Dembele. He was that player that could pick up the ball, push off any defender with his physical prowess, and play the ball into, guess what, Eriksen, who we also haven't replaced. So it's just a complete cycle that has never been replaced, and we've got a massive hole in the midfield, and it's just frustrating. Like,
the reason why we got away with it after Carrick and Modric is because you had Ndombele. He's a freak. He's once in a lifetime, maybe twice in a lifetime, where he can pick the ball up from deep, run straight up the other end with it, and you just see people bouncing off from left, right, and centre. No matter what they do, they can't take the ball off him. And then you give it to someone like an Eriksen. But if you don't have that, and because they're such a rarity, you have to find someone like a Carrick. You have to find someone like a Modric, who has to be able to do that with what he can do in one run.
Exactly. The problem also with Eric Dyer, because the reason Toby's such a good suggestion, though, James, is because we all know Eric Dyer is an absolute fridge, and when it comes to that, then you might as well just keep Toby. Because Toby, he was struggling for pace. He was kind of struggling in terms of kind of some of the athletic qualities that are needed as a center back. But if we're going to continue to play the fridge that is Eric Dyer, then you might as well have kept Toby, because for the back three, like you just said, he would be able to be brilliant in carrying the ball out of the back, pinging balls left and right, dictating the tempo, just like you said.
It's just another example of a player we never replaced. And I'm getting kind of sick of it with Tottenham Hotspur in terms of, I could name you 5 or 6 players in the last 5 years that have never been replaced, and we're still suffering the consequence of not ever replacing them. It is so frustrating. We've been saying for how many years now we haven't replaced Eriksen. We've been saying for how many years we haven't replaced Moussa Dembele. And now Toby Alderweireld's surfacing in terms of, and fans will start talking about it soon. I'm telling you now, whether it's prevalent in the press or not. We're not replacing these centre-backs, and anyone with any kind of football brain can see that Toby Alderweireld is still a better player, even though he is in the Al Jazeera League or wherever it is. He's still a better player than Eric Dyer. It doesn't matter. He's not, and this is the other thing that annoys me. People are saying like he's suddenly lost his pace. He hasn't lost it overnight, over the season. He might gradually be getting slower, but he's not like he can't move. Like and in the back five, by the way, and that's centre back, you don't have to be the most pacey player anyway.
Yeah.
You've got 2 players either side of you to mop up. So it's just unbelievable, really. And
we saw him also for Belgium over the Euros. He looked great in the back three. Like he did. He looked fabulous, actually, with it. Because he had, I think, whoever it was, Dedrick Boyata from Hertha Berlin. He had also Jason Denayer from Olympique Lyon to kind of make up for kind of the lack of mobility, you might say. But, him and Jan were just unbelievable. It was like the vintage, kind of Spurs to a degree. You still saw how classy they are in possession. You're absolutely right.
Exactly that. So in terms of like moving forward, obviously we've highlighted a lot of the problems with Tottenham. In terms of the January, obviously it's a huge month in terms of, well, we need to be thinking about it already, and I'm sure there is players lined up. There's been a lot of talks about raiding the Serie A. Who for you guys would be the top three you'd sign? Because let's be honest, we need to sign at least 3 players in January, if not more. And I know January is not really a time where clubs spend loads, but clearly Conte's been promised something. Whether it is the 150 million we're talking about, I don't think it will be, but it has to be a considerable amount. What would you guys go for?
Jack, look, you're the Flatcap expert. So go on, you can take it away, and I'll come in off the back.
Apparently, which is I've answered in 2 parts, because apparently, whenever I did a lot of the Flatcap videos, I was always working on a Levy budget, which certainly is not easy, and honestly, maybe made the videos a bit more fun to make. And now apparently we have, according to some reports, a lot of money to work with. So maybe just to make people kind of drool a bit over maybe some of the potential signings that we could get, I say we definitely need a new center back, a ball playing center back, alongside Romero. Romero at the moment, I think, is the only competent ball playing center back, but he's not really as brilliant, I would say, at the ping pass. I think he'll develop into his game. He's very good at playing it on the floor. But if we wanted someone to get that ping pass, just released a video on Alessandro Bastoni. He looks absolutely brilliant, but I think the problem with him is that he's probably almost unachievable or kind of ungettable, because I think he's an absolute gem of the Italian Serie A, and as well as just for Inter Milan, I'm pretty sure there would be absolute riots if they let him go. But maybe accordingly, his value, I think, is around 56 million pounds or something like that. If you maybe paid up 65 million, 70 million to somewhat of a cash strapped, kind of Inter Milan side at the moment, you probably could bring him in. If you couldn't do that, there are plenty of others. Again, you could go after maybe Stefan de Vrij, also from Inter Milan. I'm kind of thinking of players that Antonio Conte is probably quite familiar with and probably would want to work with. And then there are plenty of other center backs, across the Serie A that you certainly could go for. Then I would move into, though, that ball playing midfielder, that kind of tempo setter to a degree, kind of that Michael Carrick or that kind of Luka Modric blend. And again, probably just rating Inter Milan because Antonio Conte is quite familiar with them. But we do have a Brozovic video coming out very, very soon. And Brozovic just looks like an absolute baller. His contract expires in June 2022, which means we basically could get him on a very reduced fee in January or get him on a free in the summer. But also Frank Kessie would certainly be a brilliant signing as well. He'd be that ball-playing central midfielder as well as more of a box-to-box kind of midfielder, all-action midfielder. And then as well, though, I feel like we do need to get that kind of alternative to Kane, someone who can play alongside Kane, someone who can be able to be that kind of backup striker, but as well, compete, for the frontline positions. And I know everybody's going for Dusan Vlahovic, which again would absolutely make me just drool over that kind of signing. I absolutely love the guy, but I would say someone that I have come up with before as like a Levy signing, someone who I really, really back, is from PSV Eindhoven, and his name is Cody Gakpo, and he's doing absolutely incredible over there. He's killing it in the Europa League, killing it for PSV Eindhoven, probably just a much better version of Steven Bergwijn, and I would say we go for that guy. So I would go for probably backup striker / kind of winger, who can play in the front line, kind of like a Marcus Thuram can. Marcus Thuram can kind of play across the front line and be kind of variety positions, kind of like Sonny does. Get that central midfielder, get that CDM. Also, Bruno Guimaraes, I would throw in there as well. Bruno Guimaraes from Olympique Lyon is unbelievable. And then finally, I would get that ball-playing center back. And if I am going to splash the cash, certainly go after Bastoni. That guy looks like an absolute gem.
Exactly. First of all, they're all really good suggestions. Bastoni, I think he's going to have a ridiculous release clause. However, Inter Milan, don't forget they're struggling financially. They got rid of a lot of their talent in the summer. I'm sure they're going to have to shift some more players on because, from what I'm hearing, they are not in a good shape. Brozovic would be unbelievable, and so would Kessie. If we get one of them,
those two are rumored to be leaving. Those two are rumored to be leaving, so those are achievable. If you were to get one that is kind of somewhat achievable, there's plenty out there. Someone had even suggested Benoit Badiashile from Monaco. Accordingly, because we need a left-sided center back, a left-footed center back. And those are hard to come by. Maybe Lacroix, I believe, might be a left-footed player as well, if I'm not mistaken. You can maybe go after him. But that's what you're kind of get. The reason I think Ben Davies is playing is just because he was born as a left-footed player. It's the only reason I think he's playing at the moment. So I feel like we need to maybe focus on a left-footed kind of center back.
What about in terms of another centre back? I know you said de Vrij. What about Skriniar? Because obviously we were linked with him for many a couple of windows, wasn't it? Really. What do you think about him? Would he be a better option than de Vrij and the other centre backs?
think the problem is with him, he's such a no nonsense. He's kind of your typical no nonsense defender, gets stuck in, knows what he's doing in the defensive line. But like I said before, I feel like we're struggling with what David was saying, a center back that can carry it out of the back line, a center back that is very competent and confident on the ball. Not really sure if Skriniar is really that. Skriniar is kind of in there to be that kind of destroyer, to be that kind of no nonsense defender. And that's why I think, Bastoni is so highly rated. That's why kind of De Vrij is so highly rated as well, because they're kind of good on the ball, composed on the ball, know what they're doing, know how to be able to not play a hospital pass, know how to ping it, compared to the likes of Moon Boots and whatnot. And so I think you really have to, you kind of do have to, as much as Skriniar, I think would have been fantastic during the Jose days when we needed no nonsense defenders. I feel like, now we need someone that's actually competent on the ball, who can actually do things with the ball. And I don't think that's Skriniar.
Do you think Romero's sort of the no nonsense centre back in terms of, you almost feel like Skriniar would be too similar of a player in that back line than Romero? Is that also what you're kind of trying to say there?
I feel like Romero's just better than Skriniar. I actually think Romero's ball playing ability is actually quite decent. We even saw that back heel, that flick that he even did at one point. The guy is absolutely class on the ball at times. And as well, during his Atalanta days, he played in the middle of that back three and, was, to a degree, that all action kind of, defender who would, win the ball high up the pitch. But if you saw like even some of his highlights or even watch a bit of Atalanta last season, he's very good though at playing very direct after that. He doesn't, he doesn't have to think about what to do with the ball when he wins it off of somebody. He plays very direct to somebody's feet. I think he'll bring in the pinging kind of pass into his game. We've seen it before though. He has pinged a few passes quite accurately. It's just, I feel like he's kind of just that guy who just wins it back, plays it up to the midfielders, and then, basically has them do what they're supposed to do. But at the moment, Romero's been doing that, but our midfielders can't really do anything. So that's why you probably then two-part kind of answer. You bring in someone like that Brozovic who knows what he's doing with the ball before he receives it. But I think Romero is just, like David said before, he's an absolute god. Honestly, I can't even find, I can't even find a flaw really in Romero so far. So I feel like, maybe his worst attribute is potentially the ball playing ability, but I don't think it's at all like a deficiency of his. I think he's actually quite brilliant at it.
See, the thing is, right, before we had Toby and Jan, right, Toby, you couldn't press them because Jan or Toby could ping it, but Jan could run with the ball. So they were virtually, you couldn't press them because no matter what, they'd be able to get out of it. If you're going to play a tree at the back, for me, if you could get Skriniar, bring him in, put him in the middle of the tree, and let him be like what Nemanja Vidic used to be for United. Just go and win everything. Just be an absolute hatchet. Just win everything. You put Romero on one side because Romero can run with the ball. We've seen it time and time again. He loves running out with the ball. So for me, put him on the right side. And then, get one of the ones Jack said, or a player I like is Sven Botman. He's left-footed as well at centre-back.
Yep.
So you can put him the other side. And then what you have there is, the whole idea is, Skriniar is just your out-and-out defender. But then you have Romero who can either run with it or pass it. And then you have Sven Botman who has a good passing range on him as well. So you find it hard to press. But then what you also need is you need that midfielder that does show for it. And the reason why I say that is, the reason why you need all the pieces to the puzzle is because even if you buy that midfielder right now, it's going to alleviate, some of the pressure that's on us. But eventually teams will come on and they'll realize, just press this guy. Wherever he runs, you run. And they just put someone man-marking him. So you're taking him out of the game. Whereas if you have the two centre-backs as well, if Skriniar is getting on the ball, he can go left, he can go right, they can get out of trouble. So you're in danger if you press them. And then you also have that midfielder coming looking for the ball. So he's another out ball. So you have three ways of getting out to be able to get out from the back rather than one. So it's important that we do get all the pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah, we need that solid centre back, but also that can run out with the ball. We need that player that can pick it up in midfield. But we've talked a lot about midfielders. For both of you actually, who goes out of that team when we do get that player in that comes into the starting 11? Because obviously you have to free up, one of the midfielders. They have to come out of the team. So who for you guys is it going to be?
Lucas Moura for me.
You're going for you're going to do just two up top then, Dave? Take out Lucas Moura.
I'm going to keep the two up top in Son and Kane. For me, look, I take out Lucas Moura. For instance, I'd bring in, like, say, if we're talking about transfer market, I'd bring in a Bruno Gomes, have him as sort of the deep midfielder who can pick up the ball. Then you can have Skipping, because then you'd get away with Skipping Højbjerg. You'd get away with having him in there because you have that ball playing playing defender who takes a lot of pressure off. For me, look, I think, because the way I'm looking at it, right, in January, you're probably going to get 2 players max, and that's pushing it. It's not January transfer window is a very hard window to get players in. Look, this one might be a bit different because clubs now have a lot of cash available to them that they can use, like that they've got from fans being back in the stadium and stuff like that. But the thing is, are we going to get to kind of like 2 centre-backs in January? I don't see it. You probably will get 1 good player, and then you're looking at maybe filling in another position with getting in another player, whether that be loan or whether it be a buy. So for me, I think the one I would be buying right now is that midfielder. And I'd be going with, look, because with Kane and Son, look, I know people have the gripes about Kane, but you give him chances, he'll score goals. You put balls in the box, he'll score goals. You keep them 2 up front because you can rely on them. You know, if he can get a song out of Ben Davies and Eric Dyer, along with Tanganga and Roden to the end of the season, happy days. But if we don't address this in the transfer window, and it will kill us, and it's going to be that ball-playing midfielder, because you're going to see the fluctuation in results consistently until we get that. You get that ball-playing midfielder, you'll be able to stamp your authority on the game. Conte will be able to stamp what he wants on the team because you have that player that you can center it around, that you can focus it around. So for me, I would drop Lucas. I'd go and buy another midfielder and bring in this guy, because you can just look, if Kane or Son are getting tired, you take one of them off and bring Lucas on. Or if it's too defensive, you can take off a Højbjerg on the skip, bring Lucas on, play Son out one side, Lucas out the other, Kane up top. But for me, I think it's most important that for now you take out the likes of a Lucas Moura, you bring in that ball-playing midfielder, you put him in there along Skip and Højbjerg, get them to keep turning over the ball. They are. As soon as you get it, give it to this guy, and then you keep Kane and Son up top. You can either get Kane to drop deep. If you have the ball in around the middle, you say to Kane, you drop deep. We have that option to give it to you. Son, you go the other way. You go in behind. So therefore, if you have that midfielder, he can look up. He can either play Kane, you can play Son, either or, and it gives you options. And then with your 2 wing backs going out the other side, you can go left, you can go right. So it gives you a lot of options. If we just brought in a centre back, yeah, you probably see a few more clean sheets. But what's it going to do for you in terms of going forward, bringing the attacking players into the game?
Well said, Dave.
Very good
well
points.
Said, Dave.
What about, sorry, Jack, and I know you're
No.
going to have a lot to say on this subject as well, but you said about dropping Lucas Moura, and I completely get your point. But there's a lot of people out there that are saying when Emerson potentially goes out of form or when Emerson gets injured, people are saying trying Lucas Moura out right wing back. What are your guys' thoughts on that? And I just very quickly, I personally think it'd be a good idea. And I'm going to be very quick. A, because he works very hard. B, because we've seen him tracking back. And by the way, that Man United game where that disgrace of a decision was made, he was the only player that was actually putting heart and soul into that performance.
Yeah.
And C, I think maybe he's not the best defensively, but right wing back, you sort of don't have to be incredible. Let's remember Ashley Young was transformed as a right wing back at Inter Milan, and Victor Moses. Who would have thought those guys would be in a title-winning team, by the way? It's unbelievable. So why not try Lucas Moura there? I'm not massively convinced on Emerson yet. I think he has got potential, but, let's see. Jack, far away, because I know you're going to have a bit to say about it.
Even to back up your point, though, just quickly, I think Ashley Young even was playing left wing back also at time, and also, kind of doing a job over there. So really, that's just, really speaks to, what Conte is capable of. But I think Emerson has actually looked pretty fabulous, at least defensively. I think he's fabulous so far this season. I think he's one of the better fullbacks, so far, even I think statistically this season in terms of, being able to get stuck in. It is, though, going forward, though, he has his liability so far. He kind of needs to improve that final ball. But I think he's actually quite calm in possessions. But to answer the Lucas Moura kind of situation, you kind of think who else would probably be there. He's competing probably then with Matt Doherty and then Steven Bergwijn maybe are the other ones. I think he's far better than Steven Bergwijn. I think he's far better than probably Matt Doherty as the right wing back. So I think you're right, though, James. I think you probably would put Lucas as that kind of competing right wing back, as that competing kind of fullback. The only problem, though, I would say, though, both of their delivery, at least from the wing or from the flanks, is pretty awful, I would say. I would actually say Emerson's is even better than Lucas because Lucas, he's very good in the middle of the park. But when you put him out on the wings, it seems like he really does suck sometimes at taking it down the byline and just putting a ball in the box. He blazes it over people's head, doesn't really know who he's actually playing it to. So I would probably say that could be a bit of a liability for him. But at the same time, there's no guy, being able to, skin maybe 4, 5, 6 people, all at once, on the wing. And so you might see him be able to pick up great positions and even be able to a degree, maybe, kind of outrun, a lot of players on the wing and give them a huge threat. Probably could be that Victor Moses. You might even say Victor Moses didn't have that great final ball, until he moved to the right wing back. So if he's competing with Matt Doherty and Steven Bergwijn for that backup right wing back position, I think Lucas, you're right, is definitely going to win it out.
I mean, it's not much competition, is it really? I mean, we could probably be in the frame, guys, if we got a bit more fit. Unbelievable that Steven Bergwijn and Matt Doherty. I mean, we've discussed Matt Doherty before. I know, Dave, when you've been on, and I know you said you could almost be better than him last time. But do you think? What's that? Sorry,
I am better than him.
But do you think he deserves a second chance, or do you think that guy needs to get on the plane in January to wherever? Is not Tottenham Hotspur.
Did you say a second chance?
I did.
I thought he's had third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth chances. I don't know how many more chances we have to give this guy. Every time he takes the pitch in a Tottenham jersey, it's a chance for that muppet to show that he's good enough to be here. He hasn't. Every time he takes the pitch for an Ireland jersey, it's a chance for him to show he's good enough. He just doesn't. The guy is crap. Look, he's not the player that we signed from Wolves. He's far from it. I've had to endure this guy for the last 2 years, and it kills me. It's like he's following me around. He's like a bad smell at this stage. No matter what I support, this guy is on my case. Look, he's just not good enough. He can't pass the ball, which if you're going to play him at wing back, he needs to be able to do. He needs to be able to pass it inside and make the run on the outside. Oh, he passes it inside, all right. But what he does is pass it to the opposite color jersey. So, already, he's already caught out defensively because he passes it, he puts his head down, and he's gone. He's brain dead. He has no skill about him. And for me, I don't think he has any really end product either. For me, I actually think he's just a mannequin taking up a squad number in a jersey, to be honest with you. I am sick of this guy. Look, he's Irish. I hope Conte can come in and turn him around. I'll be honest, he came on the other day. It didn't look like he'd done anything to improve from when I last seen him.
Yeah,
At the
exactly.
end of the day, look, we can say, he hasn't been playing wing back. Oh, he's only getting a few minutes here. He's only being dropped in for cup games. But I'm sorry, unless I went to Mars and stayed up there for 20 years and came back. When did coming on in any sort of game? When is that not a chance? When is a cup game not a chance? When is coming off the bench for whether it be 5-10 minutes not a chance for you to impress? Every single youngster that comes through the ranks into their senior team gets given cup games and appearances off the bench. You take your chance in the cup games. You make the bench for the Champions League or the Premier League. You come off the bench, you do something there, and then you start looking at getting into the first team. But at Tottenham Hotspur, apparently cup games are not good enough for these guys to be playing. They need to be playing week in, week out, so that they can find a bit of consistency. They can find, what's that word? Confidence. I mean, honestly, if they wanted to find confidence, go and hire 20 hookers to tell you how great you are. You know what I mean? Honestly. That'll give you confidence. I'm sick of it. This guy has had, I don't know how many chances. He hasn't done anything different, to prove to me, or I haven't seen any improvement. Honestly, the Arsenal game was unforgivable last year. I seen him get done by the same move from the first minute to the 90th minute. Now I'm sitting there, look, we're all intelligent people. Me, look, I'm not as intelligent as Jack. Jack might cop onto something a bit quicker than me. But I'm pretty sure over 90 minutes, probably even 45 minutes, maybe half an hour, I would cop on to what they're doing. But this guy probably went on the bus sitting there scratching his head going, what happened? You know what I mean? The problem is that he's not intelligent, he's not good. And for me, we've given him how many ever appearances he's had in a Tottenham jersey is how many chances he's had. And he's probably taken none of them. I think I can remember one good game against Sheffield United at the back end of last season. That's probably it. Apart from that, he's been absolutely crap. Every single appearance he's made in the Tottenham jersey has been a chance for him.
It's been an absolute stinker, every single one other than that Sheffield United game. You're spot on, Dave. And the thing that annoys me about Doherty is we know he was one of the best right wing backs in the league for Wolves. One of those seasons, he was arguably the best right wing back in the league. So it's almost like his Arsenal undercover, because he's an Arsenal fan, remember, guys. So his undercover Arsenal, sort of inner self has come in and gone, let's really fuck up Spurs. Let's really make them, almost rage at this guy. It's laughable. It almost is like he's doing it on purpose. And
it's the only explanation left.
One thing else I've noticed at Tottenham, I don't know whether you guys agree with this, but like sometimes we go after players and we're like, how are we getting him? You know, United's been linked with him, Madrid's been linked with him. It's been the same with Lo Celso, it's been the same with Ndombele, Doherty, and there's players over the years. And you're sitting there, why has he chosen Tottenham Hotspur over all these other clubs? And you're sitting there, yeah, it's because he loves Tottenham. No, it's because no one else was actually really interested. They found something out about the player and completely ran a mile. But then that opens the door for Tottenham to get about 10 million off him, so we sign him and bring him in. But really, if the big clubs that you want to emulate have found something and they're running a mile, then why aren't you running with them?
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's very true. Yeah, I don't believe for a second that these clubs were linked with these players. You know, no way of Man United wanting Ndombele, or maybe in their midfield at the moment, it's not much better, is it really?
This is the thing. They probably have gone in and inquired, probably have looked at him. But people, like, you know, at United, the Sir Alex Ferguson always used to say, yeah, could be a great player. But what did he do? He checked into the character of the person. You know what I mean? And everything else. Because he knew if they're a good, solid character, you're going to have a good, solid professional. If you have an idiot off the field, eventually he's going to just turn into an idiot on the field. It's true. Balotelli, an idiot off the field, eventually his antics off the field caught up with him on the field. Yep. You know what I mean? And that's why great fans stay away from people like that. We do not do our homework at all. Yeah, Ferguson got rid of Pogba, and then United wanted to bring him back when Ferguson left. There's a reason why Ferguson got rid of Pogba, because it's consistency. He would rather have someone like who would you say, an average midfielder, Darren Fletcher. He would rather have a Darren Fletcher because he knows every time he's going to play, he's going to put it in and he's a good, solid professional. Rather than someone like a Paul Pogba who shows up once every 3 months when Graham Souness lights a fire under his ass.
Spot on. Michael Carrick, Anderson, all like not world beaters, but can play unbelievably because they got the right attitude. Their head's screwed on. They're not worried about Dele Alli's not worried about boohooman.com and selling his clothing line. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. Don't even get me started on Dele Alli, guys. I lost my head on a podcast recently, and one that will make us lose our head. And I didn't bring this comment up for too long. Lo Celso, guys, thoughts, and there's a lot. I don't know if you've seen the account on Twitter, but it's called Stop That Lo Celso. And the one that went viral the other day was he took a corner. I think it was the last kick. It was the last corner of the game, wasn't it? And you're thinking, put in a good delivery so someone can get on the end of it. I'm not joking, right? My 7-year-old nephew could do 100 times better. He didn't click. Oh my goodness.
I don't think it's a confidence thing. Like, how can someone said the other day that it's confidence? You know, that's what he needs in order to get it past the first man. How do you need confidence to get it past the first man? You're paid $100K a week, if not more, to get it past the first man. I mean, why would you need confidence to be able to do that? They're practicing on a daily basis as well, when you think about it as well. So how on earth does he need confidence in order to get it past the first man? Honestly, I think Gio, to a degree, he's had that 3 months where he looked decent, you know, in that number 8 kind of holding midfielder position. He looked decent, I guess, you know, but since then, he's just honestly been atrocious. He's been atrocious. I seriously don't really get what Lo Celso even is. I don't really know what a Lo Celso is in comparison to what we kind of have an idea of what Tanguy is. We have an idea of what Ndombele, you know, where he should be playing, you know, what his best attributes are. I seriously don't know what like Gio honestly is really that good at, because even for Argentina, people say, oh, he plays so great for Argentina. It's like, well, everybody plays, you know, if well with a team like that. But also at the same time, you look into his numbers there. He's had like a total in like 48 games, like 2 assists, 2 goals. Like, it's not really that impressive. It's not like he's ripping up trees there either. So you really think about it, like Gio, I genuinely do think is an absolute stinker of a footballer at the moment. Really,
get rid in January.
Really get what he is. Yeah, absolutely. At least because you can send him away and then you can bring someone else different, or at least someone else that's supposed to be doing what Gio Lo Celso was supposed to do. Gio Lo Celso, he had that fantastic season at Betis where he scored a lot amount of goals, had a ton of assists, you know, so why don't we just go for someone else who's kind of doing that? I know there's plenty of options out there. There's even, if you wanted to go back to La Liga, you could get that guy Carlos Soler from Valencia, who's absolutely killing it at the moment. You could go after tons of players, honestly. You could go after so many different types of players. Someone else I said was from Sporting named Pedro Goncalves. You could go after, basically plays that position as well. I don't know. Like, I think you just get rid of him and you maybe do some sort of swap deal, or just sell him for a cut fee, take the loss, and use some of that money to reinvest into another player. I seriously don't know what Lo Celso is. Maybe you keep him as like a a very like, deep in the depths kind of squad player, but that's not why we signed him. We didn't sign him to be a squad player. We signed him to be that third goal option. We signed him to be that third creator. We signed him to basically be supposedly the player that, he was always destined to be, and he's failed dramatically at Spurs. And I think the other thing as well, my final point with him is he's basically competing with Dele Alli and Tanguy for that kind of number 10 position, for that creative midfielder position. I think honestly, like he's now like almost as bad as Dele at this rate. I really do. I don't really get what he is. I think that's my problem, is that with Tanguy and Dumlardas, we really do kind of have to find out that he has this, moments where we just, want to kill the guy. But at the same time, like you see the quality, I think, still there with Tanguy. The quality is in there. With Gio, I don't think I can say that. I genuinely don't think like there is quality in there. I think we've actually got kind of stumped there.
Spot on. And do you know what? It's sort of a dotty situation in terms of the guy was ripping it up for Real Betis. Why do these players look so good for other clubs, and they come to Tottenham and they're literally like a fish? They flop. They're just, it's just unbelievable. They almost come as another player. It's like we've signed their doppelganger, and the other guy's actually gone somewhere else on holiday. I just don't understand it. And you say about raiding the La Liga, I think that's the only one point I would pick up on in terms of potential opposition view is
just swap him out with someone else that's doing well.
But if you go with Carlos Soler, are we going to get another Lo Celso? He comes over and he's actually an absolute donkey. Like, you think about another example further up the pitch, Vincent Janssen was an absolute baller in the Dutch league. He scored however many goals, I think was top scorer, and he comes here and the guy didn't look like he could play football.
Yeah.
So what is it? Is it a Tottenham effect? Like, what do you guys see it as? Or do you think the scouting, well, hopefully it's improved since we've obviously had changes in the board and everything else, but do you think it's a Tottenham effect, or do you think it's we're not signing the right players?
No, we're not doing our homework. Look, I'll be honest with you. Whatever scout spotted Janssen and said bring him in should be fired. You should have looked at him and said he doesn't have the attributes and he doesn't have the pace to make it in the Premier League. They should have spotted that. You look at I don't know, Finley. I don't know, my man. I think I need a cup of coffee after seeing that. But look, you look at Lo Celso. The thing is, yeah, he may look good in Spanish league, but Spanish league is a lot slower. It's not as physical. Yeah. There's not as much demanded out here. Same as the Dutch league. There's just not. But what you should be doing is identifying key attributes that works in the Premier League and applying them to your scouting thing and bringing in players with them attributes, because everything else you can work on. Yeah, look, sometimes you bring in players, it can take them time. But, I mean, how many more times do we want to give them? I mean, since the Celso's come, I've already had 2 Christmases roll by. I'm about to have a third one, and the guy still has done nothing. You know what I mean? It's absolutely shocking. The shit show. He's absolutely shocking. You look at Ndombele in France, outside of the top 3-4 teams, the league's crap. It's crap. Of course he's going to look good because there's no one there to put pressure on him. But what scouts should have done is looked at Ndombele, looked at his off the ball movement. He's had previous fitness issues at other clubs.
Yeah.
Who done their homework on that?
Yeah.
You would have known. Okay, he's a good talented player, but I am not sinking 80 bags on this guy when he's had a lot of fitness issues at previous clubs.
Spot on.
We just look at Tottenham. I don't know what it is. But look, I think the scouting network, look, don't get me wrong, we've got some great players in. Luka Modric, great player, came from Dynamo Zagreb. Everyone laughed at him. The size of this guy is going to be walked over. What they didn't realize is he's smarter than everybody else and he has a better first touch. Now, that is a guy you can bring in because he has football intelligence and he has a good first touch. So no matter what happens, you can bring him in. We brought in Steven Bergwijn. You may as well send him to the Olympics next summer because he's not doing anything at Tottenham. He's just a road runner. You know what I mean? Honestly, he does one little flick against Wolves. And people are going, he's class. Nice. It's unbelievable. Like, I'm not being funny. You look at that guy. Look how many times it takes him to get the ball under control. Not one touch, sometimes 2, 3, 4 touches just to get the ball under control. And then he wonders why he doesn't have space to be able to get a cross in or to get a shot in because his first touch is woeful. It's shocking. But anyone that was scouting that guy could have seen he had a bad first touch. Would have known that's not what we need. But look, the thing is as well, guys, we can bring in these players. Once you have a settled first 11 with another maybe 1 or 2 in backup that and then you can gradually bring these players in, you can work on their weak aspects of the game. But we brought these guys in to be the main men. No. You go out and you get the main men. Look, I believe in Emerson. I think he's a great player. But why does it took us 6 years to maybe potentially find the right replacement for Kyle Walker? It shouldn't take that long. We've gone through Chippier, we've gone through Warrior, we've gone through Matt Doherty. Nowhere near Kyle Walker's level. Why are we bringing these guys into Tottenham? We're not doing our homework. Like I've already said, if they're a good professional off the pitch, you're going to get a good professional on the pitch. If you're going to buy a party boy off the pitch, eventually it's going to catch up with the guy on the pitch. It's that problem. Look, you can always have 2 or 3 flair players. Every great team has 2 or 3 nutters. You look at United down the years, they've had Eric Cantona, they've Carlos Tevez, players like that who are kind of a bit nutty. But you know what I mean? They have all the other solid professionals in and around them to keep them kind of on the right track. We don't have that at Tottenham. We're just bringing in players sporadically. Put him in there, he will do. We're after already throwing over 100 million at that centre attack and midfield role and still have replaced the flying Christian Eriksen. No one could tell me they looked at Lo Celso and said he has the passing range of Christian Eriksen. Nobody.
No way.
Okay, there might have been a scout out there that said, okay, maybe I can turn him into Musa and Ndombele if I can get him fit. But you shouldn't be spending 80 bags on him because that risk is always attached. You can't tell me, this is the problem. You can't tell me that someone looked at Bergwijn and said, that's the man to replace Gareth Bale.
No way.
You can't, and this is the
He's
problem.
brought in to be the 3rd goal scorer, and the guy cannot even finish anything. He honestly couldn't hit the water if he fell out of the ocean, honestly. He fell out of the boat, really. Seriously, the guy, how many chances has he, honestly, you could make probably a 10-minute compilation reel of the chances that he's blown. I mean, seriously, he was supposed to be the 3rd goal scorer. He was supposed to be the person to help out Sonny and Kane. Seriously, Bergwijn as well, I don't even know what he is.
But here's the problem at Tottenham. We were linked with Lo Celso, and Bruno Fernandes wanted to come to Tottenham. He wanted to come. But why did we go for Lo Celso? Because they got a bargain on him and they got him for 5 million cheaper than what United paid for Fernandes. That's why. Shocking. If there was someone there that said Lo Celso is as good as Fernandes and we're saving 5 million getting him in, you're going to see the same return. Well, I'm sorry, he should be sacked and sent to jail because that is a crime.
That is criminal. That is unbelievable. How they can say Lo Celso is near Bruno's level is unbelievable. Anyone could have told you that at the time. I mean, it's just horrendous, isn't it? And do you know what the thing that annoys me is? It will have been to do with saving the pounds because Levy's an accountant and he likes to save his pounds and his profit and loss sheet every month and every year. Yes, we got the best in the Premier League. Don't care. You make £1 million on pints at the NFL game every single time at that bar. Every single time. NFL game, a concert might go on. Anthony Joshua's fighting, another few million brought into the club. Where's it going? Where is that money going? It's going into Levy land. That's what it's going into. That's another thing. It's just, it's woeful.
It's great though, lad. We can upsell down into our seats. I mean, what an experience, lad.
Yeah, new Skywalk. It's unbelievable. I can't wait to go to the game and actually be able to do that to my seat. It's unbelievable. But thank you very much, Daniel Levy, for that. I'm just going to bring up a point here, and Dave, you've been spot on with what you said about recruitment. It's been absolutely shocking, and I'm hoping Paratici is going to have a big impact because, by the way, he sort of, made a start, but there is a long way to go with this club. But Wayne's made a really good point here. He said, with scouting, my issue is bringing in third-tier players and building for the future, rather than bringing in the quality we need. I think that's almost what you're saying there, Dave. Obviously, you've expanded on it much more, but that we seem to be buying a lot of players for the future. Now we've bought the player from Pepe Matassa from the French league. We bought in obviously Brian Hill. Do you know what the most embarrassing thing about it is? And I really do rate Brian Hill. And someone put out earlier about him being a sort of creative midfield player and can he fit in? He is literally our best option on the bench at the moment. Mm-hmm. So why are we bringing in players for the future? But actually, hang on a minute, guys. We haven't got solid players that we know are world class in that squad to come off the bench or even to start, other than 5 or 6 players. It's shocking. We're literally using the build it for the future for our starting sort of options off the bench. Please tell me if I'm wrong, because there is no options on that bench at the moment. It is the weakest bench I've seen it as a Spurs fan for a long, long time.
I think the only answer, honestly, is just the man upstairs. It's Daniel Levy at the end of the day, because it's a kind of a two-part to it, where it's Daniel Levy who doesn't want to spend the extra cash in order to get those players that we all know are ready to be proven, ready to go, honestly, ready to make the impact right away. He's the one that wants to save a bit. And so probably that's the reason why Paratici even bought in, the players that are supposedly for the future. I don't think, he really wanted to be doing that, Paratici. Like, I think he just had to do with what, he could work with. And then, now that he's brought in Antonio Conte, now he apparently can now do the opposite, where he can now buy ready-made players. It's so obvious that it is the man upstairs. And then the other part, connecting to what David was saying, it's also Levy's, fault for honestly not firing, like you said, some of these scouts that have brought in these players, because at the end of the day, it is Levy that's paying their paychecks. And also Levy was the club president at the time. Now it's probably, Paratici's job in order to probably fire those guys and bring in different kind of scouts. But when you think about it in that kind of way, it's all the man upstairs, because he's the one that's made the budget cheaper. He's the one that's also kept these scouts that have brought in these horrible, woeful players as well. So it's kind of sadly a simple answer.
Exactly, you're spot on. And just reflecting on what Dave said previously as well, like you obviously, Dave, you're talking about Luka Modric. Do you think it's also, well, I mean, the answer says it itself, but how bad is it we're talking about players we signed 12 years ago? Like, please, we need to make signings that are going to be talked about for years to come, because other than Luka Modric and maybe, 2 or 3 at a push, we haven't actually signed a player that's like, incredible. Like, obviously, Gareth Bale came in from Southampton very, very young. Technically, we crafted him to what he was. But please, someone name me a player that was
Sonny,
okay. Dembele, obviously Son. But again, we're having to go back to 2009 and talk about a player we signed then. Like, it is unbelievable.
I believe Van der Vaart was the last real deal in his prime that came to Tottenham. 2010
or 2009, 2010. Like, it's, come on, we're a decade on.
Yeah.
It's like, when is this, and it's not even when is this signing coming in, it's when are these signings going to come in and be established. Well, I see a lot of it on Twitter at the moment, people talking about the 2015-16 season. We did have one of the best starting 11s in the Premier League, but we probably didn't have the bench to back it up. We probably needed that 1 or 2 players at that moment to really push for the title, because let's remember, we finished second and then the season after third. Why were we not investing then? I mean, it's completely another subject, but I guess the answer is, at the end of the day, Levy and ENIC, like, why didn't they invest when we should have done? They were too busy thinking about Levy landing the stadium. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm really happy with the stadium, but was it worth it in terms of success on the pitch?
No, it hasn't been. It hasn't been. Look, you're just looking at it. You're kind of thinking, just give the White Hart Lane another 1-2 seasons, invest the right players, and it'd probably be cheaper for him now, because you already had that structure in place. You already have that world-class squad. Then you move into the stadium. But he was given a second bite of the cherry at the stadium. He didn't buy any furniture to put in it. It was given, your stock's never as high after a Champions League final. Didn't make the right investments. Look, the problem is, we were doing well under Pochettino, but then we were signing players like Clinton N'Jie and Kudu. You're kind of looking at you like, what the fuck are they coming to Tottenham Hotspur? Like, you know what I mean? People, it's absolutely ridiculous. Look, the thing is, with that squad we had under Pochettino, we signed a lot of them young, and they became world class. But whoever done the scouting on them, fair play, because you know what I mean. They got the majority of them right. But right now, we're just bringing in dirt, absolute dirt, and we're paying over the odds for it. We got Steven Bergwijn in because he was offered to us because they needed cash. That's why we got him. We got Lo Celso because he was cheaper. We loaned in a Gedson Fernandez. We loaned in a Carlos Vinicius just to pay for cracks in the squad. Go and invest that money. Go and invest it in getting proper players. Like, I felt sorry for Pochettino. If Wanyama and Ndombele got injured, you have to bring in Harry Winks. And it's just kind of like, you're already getting a downturn in performances, a downturn in being on the ball as much because you're bringing in players who just don't have it. But look, it's been the same for every manager since Pochettino.
But isn't it also though, Dave? Isn't it also have to do with kind of like this is why the scouts though come into play? Because we've said though, like even let's say you're working on a Levy budget, and I think James could answer this too. Like if you're working on a Levy budget, if you're working on a smaller budget, you can still then hire the right scouts that know how to bring in, the players that maybe no one's thinking about, the players that maybe are a bit under the radar, right? And that's the other problem. So it really is like, yes, you can fix everything with a big, transfer budget and actually pay that extra $5 million for the Bruno Fernandezes of the world. But you could also then just hire better scouts, hire someone else other than Steve Hitchen that could actually bring in the right players that, would be able to, be kind of flying under the radar, players that maybe aren't the household names, but actually would make that kind of Bruno Fernandes impact. It's just maybe they're not as much household names. So it's a Levy budget, but it's also just recruitment is also awful. And it's Levy who hasn't fired or even gotten rid of any of these, he's best friends with Steve Hitchen, and that's the other problem as well.
You're correct, because if Steve Hitchen did do his job, we'd be sitting here with Skriniar playing at centre-back alongside Romero right now, and you'd have Bruno Fernandes in your midfield. If they did the job properly. But for some reason, he's still here under Paratici. I mean, what the fuck? The guy brought in Matt Doherty, Joe Hart, Sessegnon, Clark, Lo Celso, Ndombele.
And overpaid for all of them too.
Yeah. And all who was supposed to come in and create competition for the first team, in fact, actually replace players in the first team. Out of all them players, has any of them actually cemented down a first team spot or even contributed?
None of them.
Not one. Not one. Now, that is unforgivable. That is shocking.
But the thing I don't understand is going back to the Lo Celso against Bruno Fernandes thing, and I mean, it's laughable now where you compare the two, but that season where we were linked with Bruno Fernandes, correct me if I'm wrong, he was literally scoring for fun, he was assisting for fun, and the Celso was, okay, he was doing all right at Betis, but everyone could see who the better player was. And I mean, whoever made that decision, like you said, and spent 5 million less to save 5 million, that is unforgivable. That is the word. That is just ridiculous. And we were linked with Dybala. I don't know if it was to do with the image rights and how expensive it was. But let's not forget how much money we've spent on some of these players that are sitting on the bench.
Doesn't matter though. United had image rights. Does image rights really matter? United and Liverpool had them with Mascherano and Tevez back in the day. They didn't matter what cost they got them in.
But we're quite happy to spend. How much was Ndombele? 60 million. Why are we
overpaid for him?
I just don't understand it. We're happy to spend money. Even we're happy to spend money, 10, 15 million on 4 or 5 Clinton and Jais, Steven Bergwijns. You add it up, you've got 100 million, right? So why don't we spend 100 million on 2 class players rather than 8 dead players that have gone out to the French league again? And the other thing that I'm kind of trying to be on a more positive note, because it's got a bit negative, but in terms of we have been raiding Liga. We've been raiding the Dutch league, and we've been raiding we've been getting a few players from the Spanish league, but we haven't really properly been going into Serie A. And I think that's where it's going to change with Conte, because obviously he's got that manpower to bring in the players, to attract the players in Serie A. Everyone knows who Conte is. Well, if you don't, you're stupid, but everyone knows Conte is going to go for that Serie A. And I think that's the difference, because I think Serie A it's physical. You have to be physical in that league. You have to be physical in the Premier League. The French league and the Spanish league has bypasses that we've seen. Lo Celso and Ndombele, they're sort of ferrying around the pitch. But Serie A, you would not get that nonsense. A lot of the players, you will not get that nonsense. And I think that's going to be the difference in terms of recruitment this time. At least I'm hoping anyway.
Even in the Serie A, though, there's actually a comparison to the Premier League, too. There is kind of like a top 6, a real top 6 when you think about it. You have the likes of Napoli, you have Inter Milan, you have Milan, regular AC Milan, then you have Juventus, then you have Lazio, then you have Roma. And I know I'm probably even missing another right there. I think maybe Fiorentina could be tossed in there at times as well. So when you kind of think about it, like there's like a top 7, top 8 that's actually quite competitive with each other and, have actually been kind of trading places for some time. I feel like I'm missing another one as well. So when you think about it, like that's somewhat similar to the Premier League. So they've been actually able to, players that come from that league, they know what it's like to play in derbies. They know what it's like to play in big matches. They know what it's like to play against quality opponents. So when you, I don't know, in those kind of terms as well, I completely agree with you, James. Like the Serie A should be kind of, rated a bit more, because it is, to a degree, a bit more comparable to the Premier League.
Spot on. Absolutely spot on. And I think most of the recruitment is going to come from the Serie A. Now, you talked about Steve Hitchen just very quickly. what is the guy still doing there, by the way? Just very quickly, because I've seen videos of him literally on the touchline with Paratici, almost duplicating what he's doing, like jumping off the bench, pretending he's passionate. He's not. You know, you watch him in that Amazon documentary. I thought I was falling asleep listening to the guy. He was like, you know, I love looking around players. It's just like, mate, shut up. You're literally like, he's pretty much Paratici's bodyguard, and he's going to be a pathetic one as that. I mean, what's he still doing there? Like, can we please get in some new recruitment guys? Because
imagine being paid hundreds of thousands, you know, like him, if not millions, right? And then complaining about a January transfer window. Imagine someone that complains about doing their job. Genuinely, the guy is well paid. He's well serviced. He has all the resources at his disposal, and somehow he still complains about doing a January transfer window, saying it's his least favorite time of year and everything. It's like, that's the time when you're being paid the big bucks as well. So genuinely, like Steve Hitchen, I think maybe David is going to say this as well, but the only thing he must be doing for Paratici is just filling up the espresso every once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Look, I'll be honest with you. There's not a more cringeworthy than seeing someone act like something in public that you just, everybody knows he's not like.
That's what I mean.
You see him jumping up around, pretending to be animated, and we're sitting there, you're kind of like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Last year, you were happy beside Levy getting your massages over in the Bahamas. What are you doing? Like, you know, it's just weird. I even say his kids probably look at him as like, you know, what are you doing, Dad?
Yeah.
I'd say the wife looks at him and she's like, yeah, Steve, I don't think I fancy you anymore. You know, what are you doing? I'll be honest with you. It's just, I don't know. It's just weird. You know, as soon as I seen it, I was like, you know, it's a bit like Tom and Jerry, really, isn't it? You know, I'd say behind closed doors, Paratici is running around after Hitchen all the time, you know, just because he's such an idiot. Like, you know, I'll be honest with you. I'd say he blames him every single day for the mess that he has to come in and sort out. Because it is his mess that he has to come in and sort out. I'd say, you know, I'd say every time Steve Hitchen is like, yeah, how can I help you fix my own mess, boss? I'd say Paratici just turns around and be like, yeah, like, you know, just go and get me an espresso or go to the laundry and pick up my shirt or something, you know, because honestly, the guy's just an idiot. But this is the problem at Tottenham. There's no accountability. It's all jobs for the boys, jobs for your friends. Oh, you didn't work out with players, no problem. We'll bring Paratici in. We'll protect you. We'll keep you in a job. You know, just potter around. And then, you know, maybe we'll put you head of canteen next year, you know, head of events the year after. Just keep you in a job. You know, oh, well, look, you know, if fans aren't having it, I'll get you to be my own personal butler. Look, even you have Steve Hitchen there. The guy, you know, openly came out, he's friends with the players. I'm not being funny. A guy that's supposed to replace this crap and he's friends with them. Yeah. Is he really going to really replace them? Let's be honest. You know, with your friends, you will always give them a second chance. You'll always put extra attention in them to try and help them be better and stuff like that. You're not just going to bin them off. And that's the problem. Look, honestly, do you know what his problem is? He just wants to be so much like Daniel Levy. You know, where he can save a buck here. He thinks he's so intelligent. But what he really is he's probably he probably is an intelligent guy. But he's just in the wrong world altogether. He should be in, like, you know, fashion or something like that. Because he has experience. He was over in Milan for 2 weeks. You know, so maybe that's what he was doing over there to kill time, was Milan Fashion Week and, you know, going into Milan, looking at Prada, stuff like that. Maybe he's more into fashion. Just go and get a job in fashion. Leave the football side alone. Stop hurting the likes of me, James, Jack, and everyone else out there that follows Tottenham Hotspur. Don't cause us the pain. Don't take a job where you don't know what you're doing because you're affecting millions of people around the world by the shit you're doing. Just go off. If you want to wear heels, go off and wear heels and talk about Prada heels. I do not care. Just go and do it. Don't put pain on my football club. It's killing me. The more he's around, the more I hear his name, the more people ask me about him, the more it gets me agitated because he literally ruined that football club. The players I left off alone, I should tell you that he should be gone.
You listed about 8. He could have gone on.
He should be over in Lapland with an elf suit on, you know, helping Santa Claus right now. Not sitting there at Tottenham Hotspur way, you know, sleeping at Hotspur Hotel and everything else. It pisses me off. How is he still here? He brought Mr. Cricket to the club, Joe Hart, Doherty, an Arsenal fan to the club. Sessegnon, who's always on the injury bench, he's cost us more. You know, it's ridiculous. How is he still here, man?
It's unbelievable. I want to clip just that bit and put it on social media, Dave, because I'm sure you're reflecting what everyone's thinking. I'm sorry for upsetting your evening, because I can tell I put you in a bad mood, Dave. I think you're going to be, your missus is going to be going, Dave, you're right. And we'll be like, no, that James from SpursRelated, he mentioned Steve Hitchen, and I've just went off on one.
Yeah, as soon as this has ended, I'll be punching holes in the wardrobe. What's wrong? I'm like, jeez.
Oh, unbelievable. But just very quickly, just brushing over what you just said, he's literally not, he's friends with the players, like you said. Why are we Deadwood FC? There's your answer. We're Deadwood FC because we don't move players on because they're palling up with Steve Hitchen going out for a curry on a Friday night, probably. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. I bet you he loves it. I bet you he loves it. I bet you he's fangirling all the players as well. I bet he's fawning all over them after a few drinks after being at the curry house. I bet you it's so embarrassing. I bet you he thinks he's one of the boys. It kills me. This guy's an idiot.
He's unbelievable. Just get through a couple of comments and potentially move subject. Derek said it's not Levy. It's not Hitchen's fault. It's Levy's fault that is responsible for Lo Celso and Bruno. That sort of was a different subject, but I
think we're saying it's Levy's fault that Hitchen is still, like, it does all connect back up to Levy. At the end of the day, it is Levy, but I think what we're trying to say, though, is that it's Levy that's kept Hitchen in charge is the problem, though. And then if you were to work yourself down the ladder, you still have to make the point, though, that Hitchen is an absolute knob when it comes to it all. So, I mean, seriously.
To the point, yeah. Spot on.
So, I mean, of course, it connects up to Levy because Levy is paying Hitchen and keeping him there. But at the same time, though, like, we can't just then say that it's not Hitchen's fault that he's an idiot. It is Hitchen's fault that he's also an idiot as well. So, generally.
This is another thing at Tottenham. And great point, Jack, because, look, obviously, players, management, coaching staff, Doris the canteen lady, whoever you want, Jenna the vet, whatever you want to call them, right? All the way up to it's all Daniel Levy's problem, on a big problem. But it doesn't mean I can't hold someone accountable for not matching their job description. Steve Hitchen, director of football, in charge of football operations, bringing in players. He didn't match his job description. I'm still going to blame him. Players not putting in a 7 or an 8 out of 10 every week. Not matching the job description. I'm still going to blame them. Look, we have to have accountability where there should be accountability. And then overall, yes, the biggest problem is Daniel Levy. But we still have to hold others accountable. If Daniel Levy's mismanaging it, it doesn't mean we go screw it. Everything's Daniel Levy's fault. He's mismanaging it. So let's not hold anyone else accountable. You still have to hold other people accountable for coming in and taking money out of our club and not fulfilling their job.
That's it. Yeah, you're spot on. And it's a very good point originally from Jack. Eventually, at some point, these people were brought in to affect our club, to positively affect our club. And if people go back to Levy and say it's all Levy and ENIC's fault, of course, to an extent it is that. But the recruitment is done by Levy on all forms because he has to bring in the staff, the board, the people below him that have no nice meals at the game and don't actually give a fuck about football. So you've got all these problems and it does stem from the top. And Hitchen needs to go, but Levy won't move him on, like you said, Dave, because they're probably best pals. They probably go out. They're probably it's the whole thing's a shambles. I
bet you Levy and Hitchen feed each other over a dinner table.
What's the
pasta and kiss in the middle and everything?
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast or whatever it is. It's unbelievable. Don't even. Just going to bring this comment up from Tottenham Tantrum. Big up yourself. Get your likes in, guys. There's a good few of you in here. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And obviously, if you've been under a rock, go and check out the other guys. But I'm sure you already are over at the Irish Hotspur having a good laugh on. What time do you stream? It's about 1 a.m., isn't it, Dave?
No, Jesus, lad. No, 9:30. 9:30 at night.
I was just joking.
That's the start time. That's the start time.
You don't finish until 2 a.m. though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I've seen you very late sometimes.
Marathon.
You love it. You love it. Levy is responsible for that. There's a lot of blame on Levy, guys, and rightly so. But
if you follow, like I said, and I'll just say it quickly, follow up the ladder. Yes, it is. But if you want to also go down the ladder, it's also other people's fault at the same time. It's not just one player. It is, at the end of the day, it is the man upstairs. But if you want to go down the ladder, it is also the absolute knobs and idiots like people like Hitchen as well.
It's a Lady in the Tram. That's it. Not Beauty and the Beast. Lady in the Tram. That's it with the dogs. It's unbelievable. That is Hitchen and Levy on a Friday night. You know, probably in Potter's Bar somewhere at a curry house. It's unbelievable.
At Gino's.
Yeah,
That's at Gino's on a Friday night.
Yeah, probably spent like, you know, you can spend like $2,000 on a red wine bottle of red wine, you know, unnecessarily. I hate to think where some of this money in this club is going.
Daniel Levy still buys his wine in Lidl because he looks at the more expensive one. He's like, oh, I don't know about that, you know.
He sneaks it in his bag.
Still have to pay Harry Kane this week. So, no, I think it's the $6.99 bottle for me, you know.
And he brings it into the restaurant in his bag, by the way. He puts it in his briefcase that's overpriced. Puts it in there. Yeah, can I have the red wine? No, it's 1.5 grand. Oh, I better get out the little one. You know, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You can
probably did that with Conte when they had dinner. Did that with Conte.
Yeah, by the way, there was a lot of things going wrong, wasn't there?
They traded wines and then
he took Conte out.
Nice one.
Yeah, he took Conte out on the Monday night after signing him, and everyone was like, "Well, you know, Levy's not getting the bill, is he?" He's probably got Conte absolutely off his head, absolutely hammered, and Conte's gone, "I will pay you the bill." And he hasn't actually thought about anything. You know, it's unbelievable.
And Levy was probably found in the jacks locked in after hiding. He brought them all out for a meal. It's on me, and then he just goes missing.
They probably went out at like 5 o'clock for like an early bird special or something, you know, or even during happy hour, you know, to save a bit of money as well.
Andre said players that should be the club, but Levy wanted to sign a few bucks, save a few bucks. Yeah. Bruno, Dybala, Skriniar. Dybala's not one. Well, we sort of covered it, but you know what? Why did we not just complete these deals? By the way, we'll be linked with a marquee signing again. So last season it was Skriniar, wasn't it? Yes, it was Skriniar, and obviously it was Sabitzer as well. Guess what? The ship sailed on Sabitzer. He's gone to Bayern Munich, probably the best club in the world at the moment. It's gone. You know, why don't we just make these deals happen? We start regretting it. And do you know what the most embarrassing bit about it all is? And I know we've sort of covered it all. Is guess who we're linked with replacing Eriksen with? Christian Eriksen. There is talks about Eriksen coming back. I mean, that just sums it all up. Who replaced Gareth Bale? Gareth Bale on loan. I mean, come on, guys. We need to stop clutching at straws and saying like Steven Bergwijn's going to be the next one, or you know, it's just not good enough. You know, we have not replaced, like I said, so many of these, you know, big players that were so key in how well we did under Pochettino. It's no wonder Mourinho couldn't get him going. I mean, Nuno part the bus on that one, but I will not be surprised. And I do not like being negative if we get to the end of the season and we're all disappointed as fans because we finished 7th or 8th because we haven't got the squad. You know, there's only so much Conte can do. He's got a magic wand, but he's not going to suddenly turn Eric Dyer into prime Maldini. It's just not going to happen.
Well, I mean, you can't polish a turd, can you? You know what
exactly.
I mean?
Love that.
Put all the pledge on it. You can put all the spray on it and clean it and buff it all you want. Still going to be a piece of shit at the end of the day.
Here's Joseph. Here he is, the chief writer of the Mirror and Star. He said, nothing wrong with little wine. I'm sure you take your missus out on that, Joe.
Do you know what? There's not. But if you have Daniel Levy's money, then you're just a tight ass.
Yeah, unbelievable. All the best, lads. Sorry I couldn't make it this week. Arsenal prediction not looking bad now.
There's still a lot of season left. There's still a lot of season left. And also, is this the first time ever that we've seen Mikel, you know, go on a decent run? Is this the first time ever? Like, you know, seriously, exactly. I mean, honestly, might as well, you know, give it a bit more time until, you know, all the cones start falling over again.
Exactly. Just to fill you in good context, basically, we put a post up on Spurs-related Instagram and we all predicted our Premier League predictions, and we did a YouTube video, and Joe very controversially put Arsenal above Spurs.
That's good though. You know, it's good to have someone else, you know, who you know, outside our world maybe do that. You know, that's good crack. Yeah.
But I think, you know, Arteta. How many games are they unbeaten now? 10. It's going to come to an end. You know, they've had favourable fixtures. I can't say that, you know, fair play to them in a way. I hate doing that, but it's going to come to an end. You know, eventually there'll be a stage where Arsenal go on a rocky form again. Conte will get going. I'm still confident we're going to finish above Arsenal. I very much am. Levy, the biggest task guy in the he took Conte out for a Happy Meal. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised. He's probably taken him to that Chick King place across the road from the stadium. You know, where you can get your chicken and chips for $3.99 and everyone raves about it. Well, the working class fans go there, but Levy's probably there as well on hours where it's a bit more quiet. You know, quickly sneak Steve Hitchin in for a quick one and a can of Coke. It's unbelievable. Breaking news.
And duck's ass, for fuck's sake.
Breaking news, Conte's Spurs to please sign Gareth Bale. Would you guys take Gareth Bale back, by the way?
No, not on the wages, because I think that was the problem, is that we were paying him, what was it, like 300 grand a week,
Yeah,
for him to show up like 3/4 of the way through the season. When you think about, as much as he did, wonders for us, as much as he, also to a degree knocked Leicester City, out of the Champions League and things like that. You still have to say, like, Gareth Bale, like, he showed up like 3/4, not even halfway through. He showed up like 3/4 of the way through the season. So if we're paying someone 300 grand to do that, I mean, seriously, I mean, that's just too much. It's too much.
Yeah, if he's turned up for 3 weeks and he's on 300 grand a week for pretty much the whole season, he's probably earning about 10 million a week, because he's not earning his money elsewhere, is he? So yeah, I agree on the wages thing. Road to Legends is a bus. I'm sure that's probably to do with I'm not too sure, but Conte, without throwing players under the bus, Mourinho style, literally said he needs time. He knows that the team is not good enough, and this is what I said last week on the podcast, is it has to be from now until January the 1st. The players that we know are out that door or on the borderline, they've got 2 months. Otherwise, they're gone. There's no excuse now. Conte is not going to put up with any kind of, he's not going to put up with Dele Alli, mincing around on the pitch. He's not going to put up with Bergwijn putting in like 1 out of 10 performances. He's going to get rid of these players, or they're going to have to perform. And I think there's, like you said, Dave, I'm going to go back to it. There's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can polish a turd. You can't just keep these dead players. People, and do you know what the thing that frustrates me the most is? There's fans out there that will clutch at straws and go, well, Dele Alli had a good game against Burnley at the end of 2020. And I'll be like, you've literally just said that he's played a good game like 11 months ago. Like, why are we going back to that? It's unbelievable. Steven Bergwijn, but look at when he came on against Man City, he changed the game. Guys, seriously, players can have a one-off game, but clearly over, 2-3 seasons, it's inexcusable. You cannot have these players just floating around on the wage bill, not wanting to put any passion into Tottenham. And I went back to Eric Lamela. Okay, the guy was his goals to games ratio was appalling, and it was his time to go probably 2 or 3 seasons ago. But at least the guy played for the badge, and put in his all. Maybe his quality wasn't up there, but his performance, his effort levels were up there. We need that from all the players, otherwise this isn't going to work. We don't need passengers anymore. We need players that want to play for the badge.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well said.
Sorry, Joe's put, I could see Conte going for Brozovic, lads. Yes, we have said that 110%. We all want that. Our contract in June, and talks have stalled with Inter, who are financially unstable. Conte loved him. Thoughts? Joe, 100%. We were sort of discussing the likes of Brozovic, Delight, obviously Kessie from AC Milan. They're all players we want to get in, and we want to raid that Serie A, because we know Conte can work miracles with those players. So let's get them in. He knows the player well. Get them in, 110%. Guys, there's a lot of comments coming through now. If you are new to the live stream, just very quickly, pause for 10 seconds, not even that. Scroll down on your phone or your laptop, press that like button and hit that subscribe button. You massively help the channel out. And obviously, massive thanks to Jack and Irish Hotspur for joining me tonight. Big up, guys, says Detrix Kane. Really appreciate that. I don't think Conte will bring in Eriksen. He most easily used him as a sub in Serie A. The thing is, I don't think Eriksen will happen, but the fact it's been talked about is embarrassing alone. I mean, I love Eriksen, but why would we replace Eriksen 2 years later with Eriksen? Unbelievable.
It's a mic drop, yeah.
We're going to be talking about getting Moussa Dembele from China soon, and Toby Alderweireld, and getting back from Saudi Arabia. Like, it's going to happen, and it's unbelievable. It's just this would only happen at Tottenham. Lee will crap his pants when he sees Conte's wish list. Good, please do. Maybe have a sit down with Hitchin, maybe talk it through with a bottle of red wine from Lidl. That'd be great. Bale had most of his wages paid by Real Madrid still. That wouldn't be the case if it was permanent. Exactly. So I think, Jack, what you're saying is he was on 300 grand, but I think he was actually on 400 grand, and Real Madrid were paying sort of like 300 grand of it, and Spurs were paying 150 or whatever it was. I mean, if we had him fully, it would be even more. It's unbelievable.
I mean, I think Joe is probably right. I feel like Joe probably knows this better than I do, because I'm not too familiar. But I feel like last season, if I'm not mistaken, it was like the fee was like 15 million that we would have ended up paying. Not even like for the release clause, like the whole total wages over the entire season that we paid him was a total of 15 million. So I don't know how to break that down per week, because I'm not capable of having the calculator right next to me, but certainly I feel like that's where I'm kind of taking it from, and I'm pretty sure that was higher than most of everyone else on the wage bill. So. Unless I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure.
If you divide
over an entire season, I think it was 15 million total
right.
in wages that Spurs were paying, not Real Madrid, but Spurs were paying.
If you divide 15 million by 52 weeks, that's 288 grand a week.
Makes sense then. So we probably paid maybe a little bit over half.
It wouldn't even be 52 weeks because it'd be from June till...
You're spot on, exactly that. So maybe the sum wouldn't even count. So you're talking probably well over 300 grand a week. It's I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah.
I hope Levy doesn't cheap out like he did with Mourinho. Almost none of his first picks were given. He always had to settle for a bargain. And this is what we're saying. Levy has to. And by the way, guys, do you remember, I think it was not last season, the season before, we went 2 windows without signing a single player. It was the first time in history a Premier League club had not made a single transfer. So it's not like, we've spent like ridiculous amount of money. Obviously we spent quite a bit in the summer, but you compare that with other clubs and we got to go back and remember, like I said, that we've saved money by not investing in windows. So you can't just say, oh yeah, we were doing that for saving the stadium. You can't invest in a club, build a stadium, and then not put furniture in your house. You just can't. You can't do that. You can't do a Skywalker stadium tour, come and watch Anthony Joshua box, come and watch the Seattle Seahawks play NFL, and then not invest in the football club. And do you know what the main thing that annoys me at the moment about Tottenham as a club? And by the way, what are we, guys? We a football club, or are we by the way, Spurs entertainment and
property
sports
investment company?
No, genuinely, that is now a business name. It is. I saw it on some
or incorporated Spurs Incorporated.
Yeah, some corporate event, and it was like someone's attending from Spurs Entertainment and Sports. No, guys. We're a football club. We are not an entertainment business. We are not a sports club with NFL, boxing. We're not. And this is what annoys me so much is people forget we're a football club. People that are at a commercial level think it's an entertainment business, and that is the difference between investing in a football club with a football stadium that can do other things. Okay, great. But that income has to then go back into the football club, not back into building the NFL changing room, building an NFL experience with a better NFL dressing room. And, let's bring more NFL games in. So when we're playing away, we can get an NFL game every other week. That seems to be the club direction at the moment, not investing in the team.
Spot on there, James. Spot on. Couldn't say better myself.
No, you're 100% right. Look, how would Daniel Levy feel if we went and took all the furniture out of his mansion? What would he do? He'd just go and buy the furniture to put back in. So same as a football club. Why would you build a stadium and not have the players to play in it? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, look, he may think he's a wise ass now, but if he doesn't get it sorted out, what's going to happen is Spurs will have a very rapid decline over the next couple of years. We'll be in the championship and he won't be able to sell his season tickets, and then we're going to be left there with a massive stadium, massive club debts, and everything else that are on top of it. So look, this is his last roll of the dice, this Conte thing. Paratici Conte is his last roll of the dice, and he has to get it right. If not, we're heading for some dark, dark times as Spurs fans. You have to think about this. The amount of money that we still have to pay for the stadium over the next couple of years, all the other debts that's been accumulated and put and structured into long-term debt. How much we actually need to invest in on the pitch now to stay at the levels where he is going to sell the stadium week in, week out.
Absolutely.
It's not good. So if he doesn't get it right this time, I think we're in trouble.
And the only thing to add is it's not like it's a surprise we were going to be in X billion pounds of debt by building a multi-million billion pound stadium. It's not a surprise, they committed to doing that to take us to the next level. And by the way, we were playing Champions League football at White Hart Lane. We were playing Champions League football at Wembley while we were filling in for the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. As soon as we get to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, we have one Champions League season, correct me if I'm wrong, where we got absolutely battered 7-2 by Bayern Munich. Yes, one of the best teams in the world. But we got absolutely battered, and then it's been downhill since then. It's been downhill since that Champions League final. It's just, we can't be playing Europa League conference football in that stadium. I I went recently and I was thinking to myself, I went to the Man United game and I was thinking to myself, okay, we've got Man United in this beautiful stadium. What a fantastic event. Premier League game, huge Premier League game, 2 big sides. And then on the Thursday, we had Vitesse. And I'm thinking that is actually shambolic and embarrassing, because the fact we're playing 3rd tier, newly created European football, and 2 seasons before that, 3 seasons before that, even in the Harry Redknapp era, we were playing Champions League football with Peter Crouch and Pavlyuchenko up top. And now we've got some of these players that are on 250 grand and we're playing against Vitesse. It just summarises the whole thing. And if Levy can't see that we need to invest now to get back into at least the Europa League, if not the Champions League, what is the point of having this beautiful stadium with these beautiful facilities when we're actually a team that's worse than the top 6?
Spot on again, James. Couldn't say it better myself.
Having a few mic drop.
Yeah, I was going to say, clip yourself, James. Clip yourself. You don't need to clip Dave.
Bakambu available on a free in January, as Chinese Super League dates fluctuate, meaning he is a free agent. Bit of a gamble, but good at Villarreal. What are your thoughts on that one, guys? That's a bit of a controversial one.
One of the guys that I did enjoy at, Chinese Super League, who I think had to leave because I think the Chinese Super League isn't as cash, kind of flowing as much as it used to be. I think it's actually kind of dead now. And now it's like the Al Jazeera League, like you said, or, the Saudi Arabian League and whatnot, is now the better one, or at least it has a bit more money over there.
I actually have a bit of an interest.
I was going to say Talisca was that guy that I thought we could have gone after. He had that really good season at Besiktas, and it did really well in the Champions League. And then I think he seems to be maybe one of those players that maybe is more in it for the money than I think for the football by the looks of it, because he moved to the Chinese Super League when he was like 23, 24 or something like that, and then stayed there for a while. Now has gone to the Qatari League or whatever. So maybe I would have gone for Talisca. Bakambu, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's a bit older, or I don't know. I think he's a bit on the older side as well. So might be like a Vinicius signing, maybe a bit of a journeyman.
30 years old.
Yeah. So I think it'd be like a Vinicius signing, a bit of a journeyman kind of situation. I think I would have gone after someone like a Talisca or something like that. But the guy that we should have gone from the Chinese Super League was that Kim Min-jae guy who just went over to now that team in Fenerbahce. He was a big South Korean center back, really, really young, did really, really well there. And now is like touted as, a huge talent for the future. And, we certainly could have gone after him, and also probably just for, in terms of Levy as well, this would have satisfied him, would have been great for the shirt sales, would have been great for, the marketing and everything like that as well. So Kim Min-jae or I guess Talisca, we could have gone after.
If anyone would have bought Kim Min-jae over Heung-min Son from South Korea, then there's some serious checks need to be going on with their mental state there. But I get what you're saying. No, I completely get. Well,
I think Kim Min-jae is like 22 or 23 years old. He's a lot younger.
It could be one for the future. Exactly that. Yeah. You're spot on. Yeah. Well, Dave, what was your fact about the Chinese league? Come on.
Yes, the Chinese Super League. So basically, where the money was coming from is big corporations were able to put their names as a part of the club. But what's being done now is there's a rule change. So they can't have their name, the corporations can't have their name included with the clubs. So because their corporation name isn't being put out there anymore, they're now taking back a lot of the financial that was driving it, because it doesn't make, it's not really doing that for their business anymore. It's not doing that for their name. So they pulled back a lot of the money they were spending. So you probably will see an influx of talent wanting to come back to Europe.
Okay, good fact. I got one to follow up with you. So the team that won the Chinese Super League, I believe last year, was called Jiangxi Suning. And that was who that Alex Teixeira played for. It was who that Italian guy called Eder played for. They won the league. They won the playoff game to win the league against Guangzhou Evergrande. And then they went bust and the club folded because of what you said, Dave, because the finance wasn't coming in. They couldn't afford the bills of Alex Teixeira, who was probably on 200 grand a week, maybe even more. Eder was probably on a healthy wage budget. And they couldn't afford it. And they went bust after being champions. Imagine that happening in any other league. It's unbelievable. Very rare situation.
Who would have known we would have gotten such Chinese Super League knowledge? Who would have known? There you
Chinese Super League, Irish Hotspur / Chinese Super League expert. Unbelievable. Oliver says, unfortunately, it's over for Delhi. We need to sell him to Newcastle. I don't care if we sell him to Newcastle, Accrington Stanley, anyone, put him on the flight with Toby Alderweireld when he comes back. He's come back to talk about the Vitesse game. He was there on Thursday. Put him on the flight back there to Al
Sneak him into
Jazeera.
Toby's luggage, yeah.
You know, unbelievable. It's only of late post-stadium where we've actually spent money at all. Pretty sure that we had a negative net spend for it. It's exactly what I'm saying. Like, we saved so much money. I remember even seeing it over the Poch era, and that's why people were praising him so much, because we actually spent the least net spend out of any Premier League team, and we progressed so much. So the fact we've saved that money, you've got to invest in a football club. It's not a profit and loss business. It's you know, you invest in a club and you try and get them as far as possible. So why aren't we spending the money we've saved after numerous seasons? I don't get it. I hate it when people are saying, oh yeah, we're not going to get this money. Daniel Levy is not a poor man. let's not beat around the bush. Joe Lewis is not
the most as well. He pays himself the most out of any other, what was it, you know, club president, you know, in all of the Premier League as well. He has, you know, he pays himself the most.
Steve Hitchens probably second most paid. I mean,
that would be horrible if that was the case. That'd be horrible.
Look, I can see Dave. He's sinking in his chair. Have you seen the plans for Ravages Stadium development? They're copying our model, which I don't even mind because it does generate money. I mean, why not? The stadium is unbelievable. Sorry, Dave, we cut off your head. You're sort of sinking as the comments get bigger. Joe, the journalist, has cut you off, mate. I think Emerson will thrive under Conte. Conte has made Victor Moses one of the best wing backs in the league, which is what we mentioned, the same as Ashley Young. And Emerson could actually play. Reguilon and Emerson could be lethal soon. I do agree. One thing I'm going to pick up on that point is, very quickly, is what do you guys think of Bergwijn? Because I know you were both saying he had a stinker on the weekend, and I think he's had quite a few stinkers actually this season and the end of last season. Do you guys think he's up to the hype, or do you guys think he's a bit overrated?
Extremely overrated in my eyes. I know David will have a better rant than I will, but I'll keep mine short. I think with Steven Bergwijn, you know, in the cases is that he honestly could not hit a barn door. He can't finish. We brought him in to be the third goal scorer. I mean, we did not pay, what was it, 30 million for him to be a right wing back. That's not, you know, and when people say, oh, we should, you know, that's where he'll be, you know, played best. That's his best position, what some people have even said before. And I'm just kind of thinking like, we didn't bring him in to be a right wing back. We brought him in to be able to play that third goal scoring position, play as a winger, play even, you know, maybe come in for Sonny on the left wing. You know, we've even tried him on Jose's era on the right wing. Didn't succeed there. You know, we played him on the left wing, you know, as well. Hasn't really done too well there. And that's supposedly his best position. Yeah, I know he can't play down the middle because the guy doesn't know what to do with the ball before he receives it. I just seriously I really don't rate the guy actually at all. I think he's kind of honestly dross. Honestly, really, I just don't really rate him at all. I think that's why I said I would go quickly for that guy, Cody Gakpo from PSV Eindhoven instead. Or even Noni Madueke, we could try to get him back into this club. You know, just because I just seriously think like you might as well just swap him out with someone else from the Dutch league and just see, you know, try it all over again. That's how much I don't rate him.
It's the Dutch roll of the dice, isn't it? You know, Janssen, Bergwijn, who's next? You know, Krusty the Clown from the Dutch league. You know, let's bring them all in. I don't think we risk it. I mean, like you said, Madueke, I probably pronounced that wrong. You know for a fact he's a serious player. I watched your review on it earlier, Jack. I thought it was brilliant. And, you know, the guy's not afraid to run into the box, dart inside. He does remind me a little bit like Lucas Moura, but he almost is probably a bit more skillful. He's a talent. Where would he fit in a 5-3-2? Not sure. But again, we need options off the bench. We need options to be able to change the formation, to be able to mix up the game. If a 5-3-2's gone stale, you have to have a plan B and you have to have a plan C. We can't just have these dead average players on the bench. I mean, I was looking at our bench again. I was at the Man United game and the bench was shocking. Like, and it's been shocking all year. It's not a surprise, but I was thinking to myself, who's going to come on and change the game? And you're looking down that list and I couldn't tell you anyone apart from Brian Hill. You look at Dele Alli and you think he's going to come on and put in a heartless performance. You know, you look at Doherty's realistically not going to come on, is he, to change the game? There is no options off that bench. There isn't. There just isn't. Yeah.
I think the reason we even brought in Brian Hill quickly is just to a degree, even, I don't know, just, Bergwijn, just useless. Yeah, Dave.
No, I mentioned in Noni Madueke there, something just doesn't sit right with me that we have to buy our own academy products. Look, this guy came through Tottenham. The only reason why he left Tottenham is because he believed he should have been given a shot to try and get into the first team. He believed he should have been given some of these cup games that we were given to likes of Lamela, Bale and players like that, or not before Bale, but the likes of Lamela and players like that, because you had to include them. And he lost out. Dennis Serkin's going to be another one. He's better than Ben Davies, but he lost out because of Ben Davies, so he went to Sunderland, because they weren't even getting you a chance to impress in Europa League or Cup games, because we're having to play these guys. And they couldn't even come off the bench in these games. We couldn't give them any minutes because the guys like Ben Davies, Harry Winksnall, Doherty and all these guys were out there playing and they couldn't get the job done. So these guys are actually affecting our youth system as well. I guarantee you Serkin will be a very good left back. We shouldn't have to rebuy Madueke for 30, 40 million. This guy's a Tottenham guy. He grew up 10 minutes, I think, 10, 15 minutes away from the club?
Yeah.
He should still be here. He should still be here. We should have already vetted him. We should have already decided and tried him whether he was good enough or not. But we couldn't because of some of the other crap we've had here. We shouldn't have to pay another 34 million to bring in a guy that we've developed. We shouldn't have to do it. It's shocking.
I'm worried that's going to happen to like Marcondi or something, Dave. You know, someone that's, absolutely smashing it at the moment. You know, who knows? Like it's worrisome because we don't give them chances and we don't respect them.
But here's the thing. We went and spent 30 million on Bergwijn. I'm sorry, but give Madueke a chance. He'd offer as much as Bergwijn's offered us.
He'd offer more. He'd offer more, 100%. Bergwijn's offered nothing.
He's crap. He's absolutely crap. His first touch is crap. Honestly, if you wanted to pay someone to come in and run about, just go and get Usain Bolt. He's the fastest in the world at it. You know what I mean? He'd offer you the same as what this guy's offering you down the wing. He would.
He's not even that quick. That's the thing. Bergwijn's not even that quick. And he's not good with the ball.
But then you have this crap. Oh, he works hard. Yeah, Lucas Moore works hard. But I'm sorry, we're not paying 30 million for wingers that work hard. We're paying 30 million for wingers that should be able to cross the ball, that should be able to pass the ball, and that should be able to finish the ball. They're the three things you buy your wingers for. But no,
I agree with James, though. He's not even that quick. I remember seeing someone for Leyton Orient actually outpaced him. I remember Dave and I were doing a watch-along for that, and I actually genuinely remember someone from Leyton Orient actually outpacing him to get to the ball. And really, that's when I really gave up on the guy. It just
he's not fit for the Premier League, and this is honestly, I hate comparing the whole prospect, but this is where people go on FIFA and go, oh, Steven Bergwijn, he's got a future stars card, and he's got 89 pace on FIFA. I don't care. If you watch him in real life, the guy, honestly, it doesn't tick any of those boxes like I've just said. He's offered nothing, and he's scored a ridiculous goal against Manchester City that he's pretty much lived off since what, end of 2019, was it? It's just, come on, we need to stop clutching at straws for these players. Same as Dele Alli. I know Dele Alli's got a lot of fans, and I was his biggest fan when he came in and was unbelievable. But guess what? The difference was he put his heart on his sleeve. He was young. He was ambitious. He knew he was living the dream as like a 20-year-old playing for Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League. And suddenly burst on the scene. Everyone was talking about him. Suddenly, Boohoo Man contacted him. All the party clubs contact him to be their ambassador. And he's not worried about football now. He's worried about braiding his hair like, I don't even know, like Bob Marley wannabe. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
clip yourself there, James. Clip yourself there again, honestly.
Dele Marley. That was the last one you said. Have we got? But by the way, before I forget, have you got any more nicknames, Dave?
No, not yet, to be honest with you. Look, I still have the same, to be honest with you. The shit show is probably a new one for Lascelles. So,
what about Bergwijn?
I think he's missed actually a few. Doherty is, earlier as Mr. Hollywood, because he always gives this face like the whole time whenever he's playing. It looks like he's, working really hard, but we call him Mr. Oscar, Mr. Hollywood. David, but I don't know, I want to take away from him. But also Ben Davies I don't think he's Mr. Anonymous anymore, because that's just being too nice to him. We call him Mr. Catastrophe now. But yeah, Dave, you take it away.
Yeah, look, you just have Mr. Catastrophe. Look, do you know what? I haven't actually made one up for Steven Bergwijn because he's so irrelevant to my life, to be honest with you. I haven't even given him the time of day. You know what I mean? No, look, I have no new nicknames really as of, but I promise you the next time I'll be back, I'll have a whole host of new nicknames.
Yeah, I'll look forward to that, because I remember titling one of our videos, Eric Moonboots Dyer, GPS Sanchez. Oh, it's unbelievable. Me and Joe were absolutely creasing at them. They were fantastic. Where have we got to? Sorry, there's been so many comments. I really appreciate the support, guys, and obviously big yourselves up, like the video, subscribe. I've probably said it like 4 times now, but it's really, really key in terms of progressing this channel. I know a lot of you are from Dave's channel. If you could spare us a subscribe and a like, we'd massively appreciate it. I'm sure the guys will be back on very soon. So, you know, we get your favourite duo back on the channel, no problem at all. Gogeta says, yes, lads, hope you're well. Hope you're doing well as well. Oliver said, I think the Chinese side went bust the same as the owners at Inter. There's financial problems all around the world, isn't there? COVID's been a big impact. Madawaki's a serious talent. Poor how we let him go. It's unbelievable.
I think Oliver's right there. I think the owners of Inter, are they not the owners of that Chinese club that went bust?
Yeah, they have some investment in other Chinese clubs.
Yeah, the Jiangsu Suning. Yeah, I think you're right. Yes, because that makes awful sense. Yeah, the badge.
Inter had
the badge was very similar to Inter Milan, so yeah, it completely explains it. Guys, what is happening with United is worse for me than the Super League. It's affecting my mental health. Can't sleep at night. I'm not stop crying all about the Glazers. Sam, I'm so sorry about that. You know, you got the last laugh in terms of you know, obviously beating us on Saturday, but we got the final laugh in terms of getting our man, in terms of Antonio Conte. All the best for Ollie's at the wheel for the rest of the season, mate. If he makes it that far.
Sam has seen these United win trophies. Just take the pain. I've had to endure for 28, 30 years now. I've had to endure this. You know, he's had to endure for what, 5 years. Just take the pain, Sam. I'm delighted all United fans are going through the pain right now, to be honest with you. You know, it's about time. I'm not watching you win everything, so it's about time. Enjoy the pain.
Just enjoy it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's spot on though. Like we've suffered this for like, you know, many a moon, and these guys have had like 5-6 bad seasons since Sir Alex Ferguson went, and suddenly, like, you know, it's like it's the end of the world. I mean, this is just normal for Tottenham Hotspur, isn't it? It's just normal. It's just day-to-day life.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. It's a way of life for us, lad.
It's like watching someone, you know, crying, but, you know, they're wiping away their tears, you know, with, you know, big 100 wad bills instead of, you know, like, you know, Kleenex or something, really. I mean, seriously. I mean, honestly, they got to wait a little bit longer before they can even complain, especially in a Spurs chat, you know, complaining in a Spurs chat. I mean, seriously. But the Glazers, I will admit, you know, definitely can probably be quite frustrating just to concede that. That's the only thing I'll concede.
So, I mean, the fact that he said, like, it affects, he can't sleep at night and, you know, it's affecting his health. You know, most weekends I feel like that with Tottenham when I watch them, and we don't have a shot for 5 halves. I mean, if we get to half time against Leeds and we haven't had a shot on target, right? I honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. Surely Conte's going to just say, guys, press for 10 minutes as much as you can, shoot 40 yards out or something. Because if we break that record, by the way, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do. Oh my goodness, you're not seeing me around here for too long in terms of rounding this channel, broadcasting about Spurs not having shot for 7 halves. Can you imagine?
What Conte needs to create is Blitzkrieg round 2, Blitzkrieg Zwei. That's what he needs to create. You know, just absolutely open up. You know, just shoot from everywhere. I don't care. Just have a pop. You know what I mean? Start getting some confidence back in them. Blitzkrieg Zwei. That's what it is.
Like that. Geta said, I've said it before, Bergwijn is the most sourceless winger I've ever seen play for us. I think you got to go back to sort of like David Bentley sort of times where you're sort of comparing a player as to having sort of pretty much no talent. And by the way, David Bentley scored an absolute cracker against Arsenal, and Stephen Bergwijn, yeah, that was unbelievable. And at least he had a bit of character to him. I think like Stephen Bergwijn's falling asleep every time he sort of.
I hate that he wears the small shin pads as well, like, and wears the, you know, the short socks, because we all know that that's like the sign of like a good player, you know, usually like players that do that,
Jack
you know, they're
Grealish.
actually quite good on the ball, you know, Jack Grealish is of the world, you know, just like a lot of players that do that, you know, they're probably a decent player, you know, or at least they rate themselves as a decent player on the ball. And that's my other thing with Bergwijn is that I think he just does it, you know, to show the tattoos, show the legs and whatnot. It just actually pisses me off even more, because genuinely I love, you know, David knows I'm a sucker for the small shin pads, really I am, and the small socks, and genuinely the moment he rocked that this season, I just honestly, that was my final straw with the guy.
He's doing it for his fashion business that he's probably got on the side with Dele Alli, you know, probably trying to sell a few more pictures and all sorts of stuff. So yeah.
Bergwijn's nickname, all the gear, no idea.
Yeah, seriously.
Steven.
He does the long sleeves as well. Fuck that. Seriously.
Steven, all the gear, no idea. Bergwijn is unbelievable. It's spot on as well. Usain Bolt flopped at Central Coast Marines. Brilliant, fantastic, great comment, guys. He's put it again. It's really affecting you, Sam. Man, that's bad. Andre said Usain bolted out of the Aussie League, didn't he? is speaking to save his football career, and it won't say Bergwijn's either. This guy hasn't got speed.
This is the thing. I'm taking the piss when I say Usain Bolt. I'm not being serious, but the thing is, Usain Bolt could do the same job that Steven Bergwijn is doing for Tottenham. Just
100%.
run about.
100%. Bergwijn should go back to the Dutch league where he belongs. Again, anywhere but here. Boohoo man. Dele and Bergwijn can share a taxi to the Toon. Share a taxi wherever. Steve Hitchin, put him on there as well. Our paid is different to any. It really is. Sanchez and Dyer out, please. All right, let's go for another quick question. It might not be a quick question, guys. If you had to hit the nail on the head for 5 players that are going out in January, that are being sold, who is it? I'll start with Jack.
By nail on the head, like the ones that maybe are destined to leave or the ones that I want to leave?
The ones you want to leave. The
ones I want to leave. Ben Davies was in the number 1 on my list because genuinely for a long time, I really have despised that guy. I'm going to say Harry Winks first, Dele Alli second.
Lo Celso's got to be third.
No, because I think Matt Doherty would then be third.
Yeah, true.
I think Lo Celso would be fourth, but I'm just making sure I'm not missing anybody. Lo Celso fourth. Let's go for that. God, I can't not leave Ben Davies out. I mean, Ben Davies fifth still. And I know the only reason I think he's actually playing right now is because he was born left-footed. And so generally, I don't really know like what he's actually earned, apart from that. So yeah, it's going to be that 5. So I guess what was it? Doherty, Davies, Winks, Bergwijn. Did I say Bergwijn? Lo Celso. Yeah.
What about you, Dave?
I'll be honest, I need 7, lad, because there's 7 players that I just cannot stand anymore. Look.
Go for it.
Ben Davies, I want him gone. I don't want to persist with him any longer. Get him gone. Eric Dyer, get him gone. Doherty, get him gone. Lo Celso, get him gone. Dele Alli, get him gone. Ndombele, as much talent as there is, we should not nowhere near have a representative where you're playing someone 200 grand a week and showing to any kids or anybody else out there that's okay to take money and not do your job. It's a bad sign. So I want him gone, and I want Steven Bergwijn gone. Once you clear them out, bring in better players, you'll see a whole new Tottenham Hotspur.
Spot on. And I think backing up what you said about Ndombele is probably the most controversial one. However, like you said, showing the kids, it's acceptable to play 60 minutes of football and not sort yourself out after 2 seasons and actually be able to play 90 minutes properly without sweating like you've come off a triathlon is unbelievable. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The guy looks like he's dying after 54 minutes of the game. It's just like...
Came on against United, he looked tired. I was half expecting him to walk back off.
There was that one time as well where I think it was even last season under Jose, or it was under Ryan Mason, I think it was. He subbed on in like the 80th minute, and then there was someone hurt on the sidelines, getting some medical attention. I think he'd only been on 6 minutes, and he sprinted over to the water canteen to get the water bottle. It was the biggest sprint he put in that entire cameo as well. It was actually hilarious.
Jack, he wasn't just sipping out of it, he was guzzling it. Like, you know what I mean? He was like guzzling it, and you're like, Jesus Christ,
just
man.
A big spread.
It's like a hamster on the side of a cage where they got the water bottles. Like, please more. Oh, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But any other trade, without comparing football to bricklaying or something, you wouldn't get 60% through the job and go, I'm gone now, guys. You finish the rest of the job. You've got to be ready for 90 minutes of football. I don't care if you're talented. I don't care if you're Lionel Messi or whoever you are. It's not acceptable to only be able to play 6 minutes of football, and Conte will get that through to him. And I think you're right, Dave. If he's not going to live up to the bill, he's got to go. He's got to go.
Look, fitness is the standard. I'd understand if he was off the back of maybe a few injury problems. Yeah, I'd understand it. Okay. But he's not. He's not. And this is the thing. He's a young guy, early 20s, in the prime of his life. You know what I mean? He's just pissing it about. It really annoys me. It's just not a good look for the football club. It's not a good message to send out to any aspiring youngsters coming through the academy. It's just not a good look. The base of any footballer should be fitness. That should be a guarantee when you bring in any footballer. Is the fitness. It should be a guarantee that comes with it. But that goes to show that that's someone who cares about what they're doing. Does Ndombele? Probably not.
And it wouldn't have been acceptable. I go back to 2005 Premier League, Roy Keane days, Patrick Vieira, Imagine like saying to one of those guys, like, yeah, it's all right to play for 60 minutes of football, just put your heart and soul into it. And you're not actually, like, you see Roy Keane commentating on Sky Sports and, ripping into Pogba most weeks and ripping into these players that are passengers. It's because in those days you couldn't be a passenger. You couldn't just, float around and play 60 minutes of football. It's this sort of modern idea that it's just it's embarrassing. That's the word. It's embarrassing. You can't play a game of football if you can't play it fully. Then there's no point in being a footballer, because what if you need that player for the 70 minutes onwards because you need to push a game? And then Ndombele's got the talent to weave in and out players that we know he can potentially do. You can't just take him off after 60 minutes and bring on Dele Alli.
But there's no excuse for it though, James. Look, the thing is, back in some of these older players' day, they were out drinking, they'd smoked fags, they whatever else, and they didn't have half as much as what they have available to them nowadays.
Yeah, technology,
technology, stats, showing you where you need to improve physically with numbers and everything else.
Even
None
just
of that was
money,
available.
even just money to motivate you to run that much.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. And it only started coming in somewhere over the mid-2000s. That's when all that stuff really started coming in. But these players didn't have that before then. But they could smoke, they could drink, and they could still roll out and put in a 90 minutes performance.
Spot on.
When you see players out there have the best of the equipment, they have fitness coaches, they have dietitians, they have chefs, they have recovery machines, they have all the stats available to them to show them exactly where they need to work. That's where, to me, it comes down to purely work ethic and nothing else. It comes down to being a lazy player and nothing else. When you have everything there in place and you don't want to do it, that's on you. That's on you as a player. But we've seen it time again. You have Ravel Morrison, you have Adel Tarat. You can have all the ability you want in the world. If you don't have it up here, your football career is over like that.
Spot on. And we've seen it with Dele Alli because, he's not with it up there, and suddenly he's gone from this kid 2016, where he was unbelievable, unplayable. Most clubs wanted him around the world. He was even talking about going to Real Madrid at one point, if you guys remember. And now suddenly we're talking about getting rid of him at Tottenham Hotspur and sending him on a taxi to Newcastle. I mean, and that's all to do with attitude and mentality. We know Dele Alli was a very good player when he came in. Okay, maybe he overachieved or however you may want to put it. But like you said, Dave, the mentality and the fact that, I'm going to go back to it and talk about Roy Keane. I remember seeing he was having a chat with Gary Neville. I don't know if you guys saw it on YouTube. It's called The Overlap.
Yeah.
And he literally was interviewing Roy Keane and he was saying, talk to me about, a moment where you'd had a few too many and played the day after. And apparently Roy Keane used to go out most weekends with the more experienced lads in the squad. This is for Manchester United, by the way, biggest club in the world, like probably at the time, one of the biggest clubs in the world now. And they used to go and have a few drinks and the manager would go, don't go out till past 11 p.m. Like, make sure you're in by 11 p.m. Yeah. And Roy Keane said he came in one night, he came in at 2 or 3 a.m. They had a 12 o'clock game and they still dusted themselves off, no excuses, and won the game 4-0. And it's like, and played 90 minutes. And it's like, why are we giving these players the opportunity for an excuse about not having, I mean, whoever's excusing the fact that you can play 60 minutes of football and that's all right, and not be fit for the game. And like you said, with all the technologies, how is that justifiable? It's just not.
Or even going as far as, going missing for 3 years with some of these players, we still kind of give excuses for it. We still do, like you said, Dele Alli had a good game against Burnley, whatever, 11 months ago. Oh, Steven Bergwijn, he's, is lacking confidence, a new country or all these things, it's just kind of like, it's not like the Netherlands is that much of a difference between, the UK and whatnot. It's not like Netherlands, they're like, eating off the ground or something like that. Like, seriously, it's like, really, it's just genuinely like we give excuses for all these players as if they're like, I don't know, 12 years old, 14 years old. Like, they're all grown men, like, at the end of the day as well. And again, I'll say it again, 200K, 100K a week. I mean, that should be enough. That should genuinely be enough to motivate you to run for 90 minutes. I really don't get that. Or even just be able to perform, especially if we're buying them in for that much. So seriously, well said.
But look, one thing we're world class at as Spurs fans is making excuses for players and players that do not deserve it. Look, I've heard, Bergwijn, he's moved to a new country, he's had a child. I mean, like, his wife doesn't have to work. She's at home all day, every day. You know what I mean? Like our parents, they had to both work, come home, and still look after us. I mean, his wife is at home all night, so it's not exactly like the baby's waking him up in the middle of the night for a feed or anything. So there's no real excuses. Plus, if he's old enough to stick it in her and get her pregnant and have a child, then he's old enough to perform on a football pitch. You know what I mean? Stop using his age as an excuse.
Yeah.
Stop using the child as an excuse. He moved country. Big whoop. Anyone that moves country, you either sink or you swim, and it's what you make of it. He's not making any of it. Tough titties. Go back to Holland. Deli Alley. You know, oh, well, you know, he's working hard. Under Nuno, played him on the left-hand side of a tree. No, that's not his position. No wonder why he's not performing. Okay, so we just ignore that he didn't perform under Jose Mourinho and under the back end of Pochettino, but we'll just go with you. We'll pretend that it's this season and it's because he's playing on the left of a tree. Play him in an attacking midfield role. It was absolutely shambolic. But now all of a sudden, you play him in his position. Now they're like, no, let's play him out of his position again and let's play him up front. And the point is you're never going to get through to some fans. He's playing out of position is an excuse. You play him in his position. All of a sudden, Dave decided he's not that now. He's a striker. And it's like, it's just, you just can't get through. We have, at the end of the day, just cut the crap. They're not playing. They're not playing well. They've been hiding for 3 years. They've come in. They've been here for 2-3 years and never done a job. Just get rid of them.
Yeah, exactly. One thing. Go on.
You would not play a washing machine, have it sitting there broken for 2 years, and still make excuses for it while your clothes are piling up. You would replace your washing machine. You know what I mean? So why do it for a player?
It's good. I like that. Good analogy. But like, you could understand if a player's coming from abroad and he's had a bad year, and it might be a sense of like needs a few more months, or maybe even like see how he does the next season. But like you said, these players have been here 3-4 years, and it's like wake up. They're still not going to be a good player after the 5th year, the 6th year, the 7th year. You know, we're talking, and you think I'm joking about 7th year? We had Eric Lamela for 7-8 years.
I mean, we have Ben Davies for 8 years. He's close to a testimony. What, he plays man of the match in his testimony, and we're supposed to applaud him. Thank you, Ben. You know what I mean?
Unbelievable. It really is. I like this comment from Red Rogue. Big yourself up. It says, Ndombele. What about that one? Ndombele. Have you mentioned that one before, Dave?
Yeah, we have. Look, it's at the end of the day, I mean, we've had every nickname for the guy under the sun. Do you know what it is? Do you know why he probably gets more nicknames than any other? Because he's the most infuriating, because he is world class when he wants to be.
Yeah,
and that's what makes him so infuriating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Gaza, he could go out on the piss for days on end. Once you put a Spurs jersey on him, he went out there and performed. And he was drunk. With Ndombele, there's no excuses. It's just, today I'm arsed, today I'm not. You know what I mean? It's why it's so infuriating.
There are tears for him.
Jack, you know yourself, if he played now, he would solve our creativity problems if he was consistent.
But that's the thing. We just said that's why he has so many nicknames as well. Because there's so many tiers of Ndombele. You have the absolute bottom, dross level of him. And then you have, like I said, the highest level, which is the Ndom sex ball, which is what we saw against Newcastle. So it's just, but that's what's frustrating though, is genuinely like, there's so many levels for him. And that's compared to the rest of the players that we probably mentioned, who are just pretty much just shit. He actually can be good and he actually can be brilliant, but he then can also just decide not to be. And that's probably what makes him, the most infuriating for people. And I totally get that.
Spot on, guys. The truth says free says, I'm a Harris Army general. Found them here today. You did find them here today. Make sure you subscribe to SpursRelated, and I'm sure you'll find them here again very soon. He says, I don't know when any of these shows are. Got lucky. Thought I hit the goofy bell. Great stuff, guys, as always. God bless. Big yourself up. Really appreciate the support. Obviously, a Harris Army special. What's that, sorry?
This guy's a legend, so he is. He loves Roy Keane like me too, so he's even more of a legend. He's a double legend.
Oh, I'm glad I mentioned Roy Keane, though. I've really cheered you up now, Dave. I thought we were sinking ships about Steve Hitchen. I thought I was going to lose you at one point. He could be the sixth man in the NBA. 80s training regimen, butts, booze, and meat. Yeah, unbelievable. But yeah, really, still, Ndombergers in 2021 with all the sports equipment and all the healthy eating, and the fact that they put dinner and lunch on their plate, for goodness sake, every day at training, every day at the match, before the match. They eat healthy diets, but the guys still he cannot run past 40 minutes. Unpopular opinion, I'm hoping Doherty will become a player under Conte. More of a hope than I think. He hasn't had a consistent run at right wing back. I mean, it's very hopeful. But this is what I was saying. You know, we know
can
the
all
guy.
pray.
You know, the guy is a good right wing back. He was at Wolves. I think the guy's on a stitch up. He's on an Arsenal stitch up. He's been paid probably by, you know, one of the Arsene Wenger mafia or something. Like, it's unbelievable. Jack and David, my guys, let's get James' super chat. Doesn't know he was coming. God bless. We can't do super chats around here yet, guys. But with all your support, maybe there'll be a stage when we can. So big yourselves up for all the support tonight. We really do appreciate it, and it's been a long one. And of course, I really appreciate Dave and Jack for joining me tonight. Tanga and Ndombele needs to go on a pilgrimage to Mecca to find himself. What do you think of that one, guys?
Much more of a vegetarian diet over there when you think about it, you know,
Yeah.
so which actually be pretty good for him, you know, when you think about it. So probably a lot less ketchup over there as well, you know, fewer burgers, you know, fewer Uber Eats, probably connections, you know, things like that for Tanguy. Yeah. So yeah, probably the right move, at least, you know, for the fitness, you know, maybe take the fitness coach with him, you know, as well. You know, I would say, you know, probably come back a whole new man.
Ndombele, you're just smoking Marby Reds. There should be more Spurs fans in
like
here,
that
guys.
theory that he might be a huge chain smoker or something like that. That'd be kind
Probably
of
can't
hilarious.
imagine it. I can imagine him in a bar in sort of Paris, sort of like he's gone out and he's sort of like having a bit of a laugh. You know, he's on the cigarettes. You know, he's probably got absolutely hammered. I feel like off the pitch he is a bit of he wears some absolute outrageous outfits, but we're getting a bit off topic here. Said now you can fix your washing machine yourself, Dave. Apparently, sometimes the answers to your problems are already within. Sometimes you can revitalize these players.
And look, Finley's comment is exactly there. The people I talk about when they just keep defending these players.
I knew you were going to say that. It's spot on. Like, Finn, you can't. You're going to like plaster the washing machine up, and instead, in the terms of the footballer, you're going to suddenly like, you know, give him a pat on the back and go, "Come on, you can do it." Like, come on, guys.
How long do you want me to keep blowing smoke up someone's ass without them doing it back to me? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, like, I'm sorry, 3-4 years. I'm sorry. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe I might let my missus get away with something with not performing for 3-4 years. But, you know, I love my football club more, so I'm not letting players get away with that. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
Bit of a moment just quickly with Dele Alli, which I've kind of noticed this. I think the last time he had like a truly remarkable season or truly solid season was 17-18. And when you actually, some people say with Dele Alli, it's been 2 or 3 years. It's actually, when you think about it, 21-22 is 1, you know, 20-21 is 2, 19-20 is 3, 18-19 is 4, 17-18 is 5. So it's actually been 5 seasons since Dele Alli's been, you know, with the case with Gio and Tanguy. Yeah, it's been a few seasons. You know, but they're not even halfway yet. You know, with how long Dele's been missing.
You know that we'll hang on to these players, and they will become a 4 or 5 year player. And then suddenly we're thinking, hang on, when are we going to move these guys on? I know and then like suddenly most fans are thinking it. Like, when are we going to move these players on? And then it's going to get 7 years, and it's going to be like everyone agrees that Lamela should go, but actually the more intelligent fans that have eyes can see that the player should have gone about 5 years ago.
Correct.
It's just like.
Correct.
I don't like separating fan bases, and I don't like sort of going like against people's opinions. Everyone's allowed an opinion, but when you can't see that a player doesn't want to be at a club, he doesn't put in 100% performances, and ultimately they're not good enough, you have to wake up and smell the coffee and go, these guys aren't good enough. Let's get in some fresh players. Like, you just can't. You can't just. They can't just be passengers. I've used the phrase so much. It's so annoying. Like, if you played for Tottenham Hotspur, guys, would you put in 100%? You'd put in more. You'd put in 100 million% because you'd be like, fuck me, I'm playing for my team. We need to be unbelievable. Even if I haven't got the talent, I'm going to put in 100%. Some of these players just think like, it's just most.
I even question players like Harry Winks because, like David has said before, we all know if that was us in Harry Winks' position against West Ham, we all would have cleaned out the fucker, you know, against West Ham. We wouldn't have let, you know, Lanzini be able to hit that shot from distance. Probably would have David, at least I know David, probably would have seen bone fragments probably fly from, you know, Lanzini when you think about it. So seriously, that's the answer. I mean, generally, I start to question even whether Harry Winks even likes the club enough.
You can't even talk about Gaza and Ndombele. Well said, by the way, Jack. You can't even talk about Gaza and Ndombele in the same breath. It's just wrong. I mean, you can actually see Tanguy bringing a live ostrich to training with him.
True.
Very good point. Can you imagine Ndombele doing, you know, anything that Gaza did, really. Conte cares more about this badge than guys who have been here for some time. Kane will love the badge again. He built a new stadium with legends, consistent goals. His legendary consistent goals, sorry, that's spot on. We're all praying that Harry Kane comes back. We're all praying that we get our Tottenham Hotspur back. Imagine having a testimonial for Dele thinking that you can't remember him doing anything on the pitch for like 8 years. All they're going to do, right, when Dele Alli leaves and on all the social media channels, they're going to build him a documentary over 8 years. But actually, it's only going to be for one season, because that's ultimately what they're going to be going back to. They're going to be going back to that 15-16 season where he flicked it over his head and he banged it in against Crystal Palace. They'll go to the goals he scored against Chelsea where he nodded them in White Hart Lane and we beat them 2-0 after God knows how many years. They'll flick to when we beat them for the first time in 20 years at Stamford Bridge. There'll be a few other goals in the Europa League where he scored the Bicey. And then after 2017 and 18, you're thinking, where the fuck's the rest of the archive of Dele Alli? And guess what? There isn't one.
You'll just see static screen. It'll just, just be cut to like static screen, like
it'd be like a fashion show. Like it'd be like we're talking about his hair movements and like how he's gone from this pink and green hair to the blue one. Like we're clutching at straws for these players in every sense of imagination.
Yeah, look, I mean, for the next 3 years, I know you could probably sit there and, thank him and, butter him up, slap him on the ass, tell him he's been brilliant. You know what I mean? It's, I'm just fed up with it. I'm just fed up. I'm actually fed up with full grown men being treated like children. I'm absolutely fed up with it. We make all the excuses in the world. Oh, and it's like, oh, well, I mean, can you blame Dele Alli for not performing on the pitch? I mean, he has a clothing line. He's a busy guy. He is a human. I'm sitting there thinking, Well, his primary income is the football. So if the football is taking a downturn, like most other people do in life, if they have a main interest and another interest, and the other interest is taken away from what they're doing in the main interest, and it's really hurting them, well, then you forget about things and you focus on the main interest. But for some reason, I'm supposed to accept, that the Dele Alli has a clothing line and he's a human being. And yeah, okay, great. But do it when your football career is finished. You're still going to be 30-odd. You're still going to be 32, 33, 34. You know what I mean? But the way you're going, you're going to be 28, 29 by the time you retire, because the way you're going. Forget all the other clothesline crap, Instagram crap, trying to get on Love Island crap. Forget about it all. Concentrate on your football. Like, people say, oh, well, they're human beings. Football's on a short career. You can't blame them for having other interests and want to start businesses. But I mean, it's not like we're talking like they're 65 like most other people when they retire. You're talking about being 32, 33, 34. Still have the rest of 30 years to do what they want with the rest of their money. Just concentrate on what you're supposed to be doing, for God's sake. Stop making excuses for them all the time. Stop treating them like they're babies. Their mammies don't even wipe their own backside. So why should we?
Yeah, spot on. Exactly that. And the fact that they're going to retire like maximum, like you look at Cristiano Ronaldo, 40 years old. Yes, he has all the business on the side, but he has people doing it for him, number one. And number two, the guy is unbelievable on the pitch still. Like, he loves football. He comes from a background where he was, his family were very poor. They came from a very nasty situation, very difficult, situation. He's brought himself as to be arguably the greatest of all time, if not one of the greatest of all times. And he's got this business along the side, but like I'm saying, these players think they can replicate it. They think they can suddenly be this, I'm a modern day footballer, so I can have a clothing brand, I can have an underwear brand, I can have a fragrance brand. No. Focus on your football, then finish your career. And these pundits have become world-class pundits in Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, Roy Keane, even Graham Souness, borderline world-class. But, they've got all these people that have careers after, and these players, like you're saying, Dave, is so annoying watching them because they don't put in performances on the pitch and they just focus on the wrong things. That's the bottom line. They focus on the wrong things.
James, when you have a second business, as soon as training's finished, you're off doing a meeting for there or a photo shoot. Then you're doing photo shoots for Tottenham Hotspur and everything else. So you're not actually dedicating yourself, staying back after training, doing the extra work like you would have done when you were playing well, when you were consistently performing. All that goes when you have that second interest, because you're off here, you're off that, doing that for that. So basically, you're not dedicating yourself to your craft, and it becomes a massive problem. I mean, like, is there any wonder why the Celso can't finish inside the box?
Doesn't work on finishing.
Or, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, because, well, is he staying back after training, working on his finishing? Probably not. Probably not. He's probably bouncing off somewhere where Regulon doing a photo shoot or or you know what I mean, or concentrating on something else. You know, I'll be honest. If I missed a big chance in a game, younger, I stayed out after and I practiced my finishing. Makes sense.
We all did, yeah.
But these guys have a bad game, so that's grand. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm just going to do a photo shoot. Oh, by the way, I'm doing an interview for Love Island too. I hope you don't mind. It's kind of like, and you wonder why you're not getting in the team. But then these same guys have the audacity to go on demand to be given a chance. And it's like, but you've got a chance. Yeah, but that was in cup games and other. I've only had 2-3 minutes here. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, but you're not doing enough. Yeah, but I can't do enough because I have to go off for this meeting after training. I have to do this after training. You know, and they blame everyone else but themselves. It's like, oh, well, I've asked the manager for first team football. He won't give it to me. It's not my fault. It's kind of like, well, if you've done all the extra things and dedicated yourself and became better, stayed back after, practice things, stop focusing on Fortnite, live streams and everything else, you know, you might actually be playing right now. You might not be in a situation where you actually have to knock on a manager's door and ask for first team football. You know what I mean? It's just, it's mind-baffling. It's everybody else's fault but their own.
Spot on. Couldn't have said it any better myself. I'm sure Jack agrees. But in terms of sort of, you compare it to Harry Kane, Dele Alli and Harry Kane, they're completely different players off the pitch because, you know, like we said, Dele Alli's doing all this thing to do with everything you can imagine. But Harry Kane goes home to his kids, apparently doesn't drink, you know, obviously clearly doesn't do drugs, doesn't do anything wrong, you know, other than, and he's apparently the first person at training. He sometimes stays after and focuses on his free kicks or his shooting. And you can just see that by his personality. And this is what annoys me is Harry Kane, there's not many players like him around anymore at all. And there's not many players in that, well, definitely not many players in that Spurs team that do the same. I can imagine Lucas Moura is quite similar. He's a family man. You know, he doesn't get involved with stupid stuff off the pitch. But you can name dozens of players in that squad that actually don't just focus on football, can't you? The likes of Ndombele, Dele Alli, you know, Aurier when he was here. You know, there's so many of the players that just do not focus on football, and you pay to do a job. You shouldn't be. Yeah, we've summarised it, but it's just there's. No, do you just agree?
Spot on. I mean, they've all said Harry Kane's the best trainer for a reason, and also like as well, like there's no reason Harry Kane did not make it to the levels that he has today by doing what Dele Alli did, which is basically what you guys just mentioned, which is just leaving right after training. He stuck out after training, working on whatever he needed to work on, and he also was the first one to arrive. And look where he is now. Exactly that.
Let's go through a few more comments. Rogue Rebel says, I can however imagine Tango doing the other Gaza prank when he jumped over the training ground fence to retrieve a ball and returned 24 hours later with the same ball lazy. One disgruntled striker, here you go, Nuno. Good luck. Nuno was suggestion, but he had no chance. Dave, who wants to play for Tottenham? Name me an 11 or 13 quality players that actually want to play for the badge. We're seen as a joke from the outside. It's a good question from Finn. Do you want to give it a go, Dave?
I have to find out what players are Tottenham fans to be first. Look, regardless whether they want to play for Tottenham or not, the other thing that what they should realise is on a broader scale is they're no matter what club they play for, they're representing millions of people's dreams and hopes. You know what I mean? That's what they're doing. So look, whether they want to play for Tottenham or not, it doesn't matter. No matter what club you move to, whether it's Gateshead or whether, you know, it's Tottenham Hotspur, it doesn't matter. You're representing people's dreams. So fucking do it. Being paid well enough to do it.
Exactly. You're representing, not if it's not your dream to join a club of Tottenham Hotspur, you know that there's millions of fans around the world that have the dream to want the best possible thing to happen to their club, which is win trophies, you know, win league titles, you know, be named across the world. And at the moment, it seems like it's the opposite. You know, players come to the Tottenham Hotspur and they don't really want to play for the club. And then we're seeing it as that laughing stock that doesn't win trophies. And it has to be a key factor in terms of changing this club. We need players. Okay, maybe they don't, you know, maybe they're not Tottenham fans we're bringing in, like you're saying, Dave, but they have to have the similar goal as the manager, which Conte will obviously want to do, is to win something with this club. They've got to have the similar ambition to the other players, the leaders in the dressing room, like Hugo Lloris, who's stuck by us for 8-9 seasons now. And he's clearly just what, if anyone deserves anything, I'm sorry, Hugo Lloris does, because That guy could have left us so many years ago for PSG, Juventus, and he stepped by us because he actually loves the club. And so does Heung-min Son, by the way. He could have gone.
Look, what I will say to Finley is next time I'm back on, I will name one for him. I will. Trust me, I'll go and I'll find quotes of players saying that they want to play for Tottenham Hotspur. I can already think of 2 or 3 off my head, but I will find an 11 for him. But what I would say to Finley is next time I'm back, if I'm going to provide him an 11 of players that want to play for Tottenham Hotspur, he's to stop making excuses for some of the crap that's put us in this position.
I think you might have a deal on your hands. A 2-way deal. Finley, that's what Conte has to change. We stay soft FC. All my teams have sack at least. Need that with Spurs. Roy Keane style. Keith, big yourself up. Welcome to the stream. He says, I think Ryan Sessegnon and Matt Doherty are going to be the players reformed under Conte. I mean, if we get one of them reformed, it's unbelievable. Sack means balls, by the way, not the sack like Nuno. Completely got what you're saying there, Truth. Thanks for clarifying that one. Harry Kane has big balls. And Mr. J says, hello, guys. Cheers from Slovakia. Big yourself up, Mr. J, by the way. You're in every single stream. Big yourself up. Huge fan of the channel. And we're a huge fan of your comments as well. Finley, God is the strength in which I trust. Lesson 47, of course, in Miracles. Greatest spiritual passage ever written. You asked how to be free. There you go. God bless. The truth. It's in your name, the truth right there. Joe Rodon does the same as Kane in training. Why I respect him. Bale took the mickey out of Rodon for how long he stays in training. But Gareth Bale, again, he's got another focus off the pitch, which is going to play golf. It goes back to our other point, doesn't it? I mean, He's taking the piss out of Rodon, but, you know, whatever to Bale, you know, he's made it to the top. He thinks he's achieved all he has, and he probably has. But, you know, Rodon's a young player. He's 21 years old or however old he is. And he's putting in the effort. We want that, you know, and I think Rodon should be given a chance under Conte. I really do. I really do.
I agree.
Milinkovic Savic is a perfect player for us. Box to box, score goals and can defend. I'm sure you're a big fan of him, Jack.
Everybody, I think, is a big fan of Milinkovic Savic if they've seen him. It's just the question is, he's kind of one of those players that probably will make that bigger step, maybe to someone like a Madrid or something like that, maybe. But you know, if we paid the big bucks for him, I'd love to have him. He'd be probably actually a better version of maybe what Kessié does, I would say. Big if we pay the big bucks, Jack. As we know, we'll undercut it. We'll do all we can to pay less, and we'll lose out on him. Mr. J, welcome. God bless. Too many syllables in his name, or too many letters and characters in his name. Levy wouldn't pay for that kit. You know, too many expenses. Come on, you Harris Army, and come on, you Flatcap Army. I'm presuming the FA is. And Red Rogue Rebel is sent on an unrelated point. The rumours about Vlahovic, his agent, no longer taking calls from Arsenal this morning. Crap me up, mate. If Vlahovic ends up at Arsenal, there's going to be riots because we have to get that guy. We have to get that guy. He's the man. He's the man Tottenham so desperately need. But let's not forget, we also need the centre back. We also need the box-to-box midfielder, the holding midfielder, and every other position pretty much on the bench because we've got nothing. Apparently, Conte is a Spurs fan from Villa. Yes, he is. There's one. Yeah, get him in. Exactly that. They need to drill the message into players. Clearly, the message hasn't gone through. We have one of the best coaches in the world, best stadium, and have spent the last 10 years in the Champions League. Trust me. There's plenty of players that want to play for us. Moments, balls in that comment. And where are the Spurs fans? Coy's fans, this is great. This gent runs a great show. Share video with other fans. Big yourself up. These are the comments that make it all worthwhile. Big yourself up. And everyone in this stream now, there's a good, there's a good few of you. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and if you can even go to the extent of turning bells on when we go live, you're an absolute legend. And I'm sure the Harris Army and the Flatcap Army will agree, and I'm sure some of you are from there. But guys, it's been almost 2.5 hours. It's flown by. It's absolutely flown by. I'm going to wrap things up because I'm sure Dave's thinking, or his missus is probably like, where are you for dinner? And I'm sure in America it's probably getting on for dinner time as well. So I'm not going to keep you any longer, guys. I really, really appreciate your time today. And I think we've had a great laugh and we've discussed some really, really good points. So appreciate you guys coming on in. Sorry, Dave. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, thanks for having us, James. Thanks for having us. It's been wonderful. Honestly, time has flown by, like I said, in the chat as well. Honestly, I've enjoyed it. Dave and I are kind of, having an easier day today as well. So we probably could have gone on as long as as you would have liked. And it's been actually a blast. It's been good to be on also along with Dave, be able to, maybe fill in for maybe Joe there as well. So, it's been, thank you for having me. Feeling is mutual. And all the Harris Army that I know is in the chat at the moment, David and I, as we always say, you practically can't leave the stream unless you hit that big red shiny button down below, that big subscribe button, because it's exactly what we do, Dave, honestly, because
and the
that's
blue
what they
one.
need to do. And the blue one as well. Big yourselves up. But Harris Army, you can't leave the stream without hitting that big shiny button.
Yeah,
then
100%.
You're dismissed.
And look, I just want to say, look, I always have a right every time I've come on here. It's been good having Jack on. I think the three of us have provided a great laugh, plus hopefully a lot of insights maybe into where we can improve a bit, look at what's going on. And I hope everyone enjoyed it. But most importantly, look, guys, I say this, especially every Spurs content creator, even if you're popping into the stream, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. It really helps them out. If they have the super chat option available, always try and help them out where you can, because you have no idea how much it actually helps content creators. Look, there's no grant for governments or anything off it. You know what I mean? So it is a massive, massive help as well. Not only that, follow them on Instagram, follow them on YouTube, or on Twitter. They have some big pages going there as well. So guys, really do help them out. Look, I'll be honest with you, I'd be surprised if any of the Harris Army left without smashing that subscribe button. They usually like throwing their weight in the support behind people. And once they know you're on stream with us, they know that you're good lads as well. So more reason for them to do it as well. But honestly, thanks for having me. I absolutely love it. I love coming on here. So thanks for having me, my man. And we need to get you onto our channel.
No, I would love to come onto the channel, and you're thanking me, guys, but you're the ones that have driven this show, and massive shout out to you. I'm sure we'll get you on very soon. And like I said, I'd love to come on the Harris Army, the Flatcap Army, whatever you want to call it. You call the Manscaped Army, yeah? I mean, it's unbelievable how many names you have.
5 armies, lad, but we'll have one for every continent.
Big yourselves up as well for getting that deal as well, guys. But I mean, it goes without saying, if you guys haven't liked and subscribed on this channel, please do so before we wrap up. But also go over to the Irish Hotspur, and also a little shout out for Jack's channel, separate channel. I know Dave's on there quite a lot. Flatcap EuroTalk. Go over there. He reviews all European players. You might get an insight into what players we're going to be linked with in January very, very soon. And get yourself over there, guys. I know Jack's trying to grow that one at the moment. And I think the links are in the description. I put all their links in the description. So
appreciate that.
Scroll down. And guys, everyone's saying they liked and subscribed. And by the way, before we go, Finn said, sorry for winding you up, Dave, but big up the Flatcap Army and the Harris Army.
Finn, all is forgiven, my man. All is forgiven. Look, it's only a bit of banter, Look, people know what me. I'll give as good as I get, So.
Love it. Right, guys, that is everything. Thank you so much for watching the Spurs-related live stream with the Harris Army, the Irish Hotspur, and Jack from Flatcap EuroTalk. Big yourselves up. Have a great night. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. And Conte we trust.
And Conte we trust. Not Levy.